people were texting me going, "How's Trent?" I go, "Oh no, I'm leaving him alone." Now this is when you were winning. I'm like, "Oh no.
Yeah. See, you guys know better. You know how this works. You've been there. You know how this works.
My mom got mad at me when Gibbs fumbled, and I started laughing. I said, "Here we go."
Yeah. We all knew it was gonna.
This is why I don't have the Lions gene. Last night is why. Sorry. Watched it. I felt awful for Trent. I felt awful for my buddy Craig Caddy. Felt awful for Danielson. I did. There's a bunch of people I felt awful for. All those poor saps in Ford Field.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep the big picture positive look on it, but it's really hard. It's hard right now, you know. I mean, in time heals in a month or two, or the off season, or
no. By the way, no.
What?
No.
No what?
It doesn't heal.
Oh well.
Not until you win it. Not until you win it.
That's fair.
Well, it's not fair. It's real life. You know, like ask Mark if the Pistons, the closest they had come was Isaiah throwing it away in 88 or 87, throwing it away in 87. And then in 88, they lose games 6 and 7 in Los Angeles to the Lakers by 1 and 3 points. All right. No. The reason.
It's not true, Empire. The match they wanted was Chiefs-Lions. That was going to draw the best.
Yes.
I mean, literally, they were referring to the Lions as America's team yesterday.
Yes.
The game.
The CBS and the NFL desperately wanted Detroit.
David, I think the difference is, like, if there is one, is that for a team that's never won anything and for a fan that's never seen them win anything, I mean, that winning the division, winning a couple playoff games, that gave you a taste. And you can take it in stride a little easier. It just doesn't make the way they lost any easier.
All right.
That's how I'm looking at it.
I'll give you a phone call when you're 40 and you're married with 2 kids.
Yeah.
And if they haven't gotten there yet, never mind one, I'll call you and I'll go, so let's talk 34-31.
I like how everybody's decided they're going to give it to Dan Campbell today when he coached the same way all year.
Yeah, I mean,
when they ran the ball on the 3rd and 5, you knew they were going for it on 4th.
Yep. And by the way, the play was there. He dropped
both times.
Was there
both times.
Well, the throw was off. I mean, it would have been a tough catch.
Got to get one of them.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this final Monday of January. For some of us on the show, I think we know the answer. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm all right, David. I have to be honest, I'm a little bummed out. I'm bummed out for Trent this morning. I'm bummed out for all my friends that are diehard Lion fans. It was an unbelievable gut punch yesterday to the Detroit Lions. It was awful. I felt just awful for Trent, our producer, who is a Lions season ticket holder and lives and breathes this stuff and wears Lions gear to work every damn day. I felt just awful for you.
I left him alone during the game yesterday. Were you texting?
Oh, no.
Okay. See, we're pros. We've been through this. No. Even when it's, 14-0, 21-7, 24-7. No. We're just let them be. Let's let this play out. Let's lot of game left. And yeah, that's gonna hurt. That's
for a
gonna
long
hurt.
time.
Yeah, until you get to that final game, that one's gonna hurt. And Mark, as a Detroit sports fan that you are, with the exception really of the Lions, as you have said over the years, I don't have the Lions gene. I want them to win for the people around me, but I was not one that was waving the pom-poms on Sunday for the Lions. This reminded me a little bit of, you're a big Pistons fan.
Yeah.
And for those of us of a certain age, this to me had the feeling of, 87 Isaiah throwing the ball away and letting that series against the Celtics go away where they don't go to the finals. And that Pistons team was able to come back the next year, get to the finals, lose a heartbreaker. But then they won back-to-back championships. Your Wings in the 90s got all the way to the finals when they were supposed to, got swept, which was a shock. And then the next year, they were favored to win it all again. And you lost the series to the Avs with the Lemieux hit on Draper. And it was like, man, are the Wings ever going to get it done? And then you won back-to-back cups. You can only hope for the Lions fan that this is the beginning of a run. But
this is the NFL.
Right.
This is a little more difficult to make a run.
I mean, unless
this
you have
is more like the crushing. I know the Falcons got to the final game, but what have the Falcons done since 28-3?
Not much. They've won one playoff game. Right. And quite frankly, in the last 25 years, unless you've had a Tom Brady or a Patrick Mahomes, you don't go on a run. Whew. When the ball is deflecting off your face and the opponent is catching it for a 50-yard completion down to the 4, that's when you begin to look around and go, there's some crazy stuff about to start happening. Because that's crazy. Did that just happen? So the ball hit the defensive back in the hands and the wide receiver catches it for a 50-yard completion?
That happened.
Mm-hmm.
How about the fullback with a toe drag swag on the sideline?
And
after Purdy evaded
again
a sack.
I mean, there was the 2 sacks back to back, early fourth.
Yeah.
But other than that.
Yeah. The Ayuk catch was unbelievable. I just am throwing in a fullback with the toe drag swag on the left sideline. That's up there too.
The Jennings catch. Oh, yeah. It happened.
One-handed, going up and grabbing. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But obviously what everybody's talking about today are the coaching decisions from Dan Campbell. And did we really think that it wasn't going to, at some point in these playoffs, come down to Dan Campbell going for it and or going for 2? I mean, I predicted in back-to-back playoff games that the Lions were going to lose, not to Tampa. I'm sorry. I picked against the Rams and against the Niners. I picked that they were going to lose by 1 because Dan was going to go for 2 in the win. I mean, come on. We knew. Deep down, we knew. Mark, I don't know about you, but early in my play-by-play career, I was broadcasting for my alma mater, and they had a really bad free throw shooter in the starting lineup. And all year I kept saying, a game is going to come down to Chris Array is going to be at the free throw line shooting on 1-and-1 with the game on the line, right? I mean, it's going to happen. And sure enough, they're in the NCAA tournament and they're about to knock off the defending champs. And they got a 2-point lead with under 30 seconds to go. And who has to try to seal the deal from the free throw line but Chris Array? And of course, he misses the front end of the 1-1, and the other team scores and beats him in overtime. And you just knew. I mean, all season long, you knew. I mean, come on. We knew this was going to come down to Dan Campbell saying, go for it. Let's go. Go for it.
Apparently, but not Burkhart and Olsen, because they neglected to talk about Dan Campbell's going for it and not taking points the entire second half. It was the storyline of the game, and they just neglected to bring that up.
Well, they just said, he this is how he coaches.
But the other side of it is that both those, look at, I know everybody wanted him to kick field goals. Those were in the 47-yard field goals, of which the Lions kicker was not that good.
I thought his numbers were
77% from 40 to 47 yards.
They clearly just didn't trust him. And Michael Badgley did join the team mid-season. He's not. I'm just saying, for what it's worth, because some people don't know all the context of it. That's all.
Do you think if it was Matt Prater or Justin Tucker,
they would have kicked it? Yes.
You think if his kicker was Justin Tucker, he would have kicked?
At least one of them.
Because
I don't.
Not the first one. Not when it was 24-10 and it was 4th and 2 from the 28. So that would have been a 46-yard field goal. I do not think he would have sent the kicker out there. I would like to think if he had Justin Tucker when he was down 27-24 with 7 minutes to go and it was 4th and 3 and they were facing a 48-yard field goal, that he would have sent Tucker out to tie the game.
See, I think it's just the opposite, honestly, because I think once you've lost the lead, at that point, you're playing to win. Nothing's going your way anyways. And again, on the first one, the play was there. We talked about it just before we went on the air.
Both plays, the plays were there. The throw was behind a little bit on both. They both could have been caught. They would have been very good catches. But both fourth down plays were there.
Live 24-10, I'm saying kick the field goal. Now, Mark, like you said earlier, when they ran the ball on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, you knew that they had made the decision, we're going for it on 4th down. So I knew, like you, with the play call, I'm like, well, he's going for it. I would have kicked the field goal.
Yeah, I never said it out loud, David, just because of that reason. When they ran it, I'm like, I'm not arguing with Campbell because I already know he's going for it.
But to me, I mean, you kick the field goal at the end of the half. Why then mid-third quarter would you also not kick the field goal? And I understand one was a chip shot and one would have been 46 yards. But, I mean, there's a 75 to 80% chance he's going to make that field goal. Quite frankly, it's a higher percentage than converting the 4th and 2. So,
and obviously it keeps you up 3 scores.
Right. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't have gone for it on 4th and goal from the 3 at the end. Because to me as a coach, you have to line up for the onside kick. I mean, that's the whole purpose of that drive, is to get to the onside kick. Okay, so I wouldn't have down 10. To me, they don't convert that play, the game's over. You have to get to the onside kick. I mean, to me, your job as a coach is to give your team the best chance to win. Well, you have no chance to win if you don't line up for the onside kick. So there were a lot of decisions that I had a problem with. And once again, you as the fan get to decide, are the playoffs different than the regular season? Because you're right. He coached the exact same way for 18 weeks. Yeah, late January is not week 12. I'm sorry. You manage differently in the baseball playoffs than you do on a Tuesday in June. Sorry. Do I think Dan Campbell hurt his team yesterday? Not as much as Todd Monken hurt the Ravens, but yes. 6 rushing carries for Ravens running backs. 6 against the 25th ranked rushing defense in the league, who just gave up a $186 to Buffalo the week before, and a mobile quarterback. What the heck was that?
And Lamar will get all of the blame because he did not have a great game throwing the ball. But to your point, David, the offensive game plan leaves you today shaking your head at a team who lives by the run, deciding not to run in the most important game of the season for them.
Miller and Moulton. Took 4 years, but we're getting a rematch. Same head coaches. One of the two quarterbacks is the same. Money's already coming in on Taylor Swift. I mean Travis Kelce. I mean the Chiefs. If Taylor thought the CBS cameras were on her too much during the AFC Championship game, wait for 13 nights, young lady.
Wait till she hops out of the box during the halftime show and sings a couple of riffs with Usher and then goes back in.
Exactly.
Miller and Moulton, great show lined up for you today. We'll go to Kansas City, Baltimore, and Detroit, the starting 5 in 25 minutes. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. I did not see it, David, but I someone was showing me at the soccer tournament yesterday morning. The golf had a nice high shot there. Player walks behind the trees, and they're doing the drone shot.
And he's relieving himself.
Relieving himself, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why everybody's all worried about Taylor Swift. The concert's the day before in Japan, which is half a day before Vegas. She's got plenty of time. Back in Vegas. So I hit a nice buffet.
Lions need another corner too.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, and
Sutton sucks.
It was supposed to be Mosley. He was supposed to be the number one. Tore his ACL in week whatever that was after he got back, his first game back. So Sutton wasn't supposed to be the number one with all, things considered. But cornerback and a kicker. That's what you need.
Yeah, but Heath, I love the Ravens. Miller and Moulton both went 1-1, straight up and against the spread.
Lions don't get that last one. I hit that score on the
Right
number.
on the money.
Yeah, I said 35-31 Lions. That was and it was almost exactly the opposite.
Mark had 34-24 Niners.
Yeah, that's right. He did.
I thought the officiating in the second game was polar opposite of the officiating in the first game. Officiating in the first game.
You mean the guy who always has road teams win?
Who called everything?
And someone,
against
and I got to
the
get our text line open because someone texted. He was, don't forget about the 2 roughing the passer calls that are coming on Mahomes.
Yep.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for waking up with us, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Chiefs Niners, a 1 seed and a 3 seed. Kansas City doing it differently. The Niners living oh so dangerously. And what heartbreak in Motown. You could taste it. It was right there. Do you second guess Dan Campbell? That has to be our poll question, right? Do you agree with, he was aggressive all year and went for it all the time. Do you agree with Dan Campbell's decisions to go for it in the NFC Championship game? Yay or nay?
And I'm fine with that. And David, all I was really thinking, and this is maybe the Michigan background in me, and I know we don't do a show in Michigan. We're in Florida. I'm well aware of where we live and do our show on the Florida Sports Network. But I was just thinking Lions next year. Win the division. qualify as a
soon.
wild card
Too
or miss
soon.
the playoffs.
Too
No,
soon.
no. It's actually the perfect time to do it.
Well, and Dan already addressed it
Yeah.
post game, in which he said it'll be twice as hard to get back here. We're not sneaking up on anybody. People will circle us on the schedule next year. We have to want it twice as much as we wanted it this year, just to get back here. He was very, very open, very honest. Do I think this is our last crack at it? No, but it could have been. He goes, I know how hard it is to get here. I mean, Dan did spend, 12 years in the league?
Mm-hmm. Something like that. I mean, I don't know the exact number, but yeah.
So, no, we could do that. You could do the same thing, by the way, with Lamar and the Ravens. I mean, that's the other thing. Your shots in the AFC. We know you have to keep going through that Mahomes guy, but then the rest of the conference is loaded up too.
And how
So
about
when
your own division?
Right.
We're all hurt this year.
Yeah, well, and it'll be the same way in your division next year. I mean, that's what we talked about for weeks, Trent, is that this was the Lions' year to make it happen. Green Bay was in a, take a couple steps back. Let's see how far we can go forward. They managed to get all the way back. Minnesota had Cousins hurt all year. If they bring Cousins back. And then Chicago, 7 wins, and they got 2 first-round picks, a ton of cap room, and whichever way they go, drafting a quarterback or keeping Fields and building around them. I mean, that should be a playoff roster, especially in the NFC. If that general manager's doing his job properly, that should be a playoff roster with a question at quarterback when next season kicks off.
And going all the way back to when the schedules came out and to when David and I made our predictions, David predicted the Lions to be the 1 seed this year. A lot of that had to do with the schedule that they were playing. Now, a first place schedule, different division crossovers.
Yeah, they'll have to play the Niners next year.
Mm-hmm.
A recommendation in our Twitch chat room is who's got a better chance at playing in the conference championship next year, Lions or Ravens?
Who has Lamar Jackson?
Well, that would be the Ravens.
Okay.
He didn't play particularly well yesterday.
No, he didn't. He played poorly.
Yeah. He did not play particularly well. Of the 4 quarterbacks, you could certainly say, he was the worst. How ironic that Brock Purdy beat the Lions with his legs and Lamar Jackson did not really impact the Chiefs with his. Man, we love sports. You can take everything that you know and you think you know and what teams have done over 4 months, and you show up at that given day, that given moment, stuff happens. And the pressure of the moment, and it's not just players, it's coaches. How does Todd Monkton explain the fact that they rushed the ball 6 times? The most you trailed by all day was 10. How do you explain that?
It's really unexplainable from an offensive standpoint, because what is it that you do? You are a running football team. That's your bread and butter. I mean,
what is it they don't do well, Mark? They're number 4 against the pass. What are they against the run? 25th. The Bills ran all. What were the Bills getting criticized for after their loss last week? That they didn't stick with the run in the 3rd quarter. Brock Purdy wins an NFC championship game with his legs. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens don't use his in the AFC championship game. Bat blank crazy. Man, we love sports. I don't know, man. That museum, that art festival, that long walk on the beach. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It doesn't beat 3-10 yesterday. Mm-mm. I don't care. I don't care if it's Picasso and Rembrandt at the same festival. Don't care. Mm-mm. Nope. Just saying.
Picasso and Rembrandt, huh?
Yeah.
That's the two. That's pretty two good ones to come up with. If you're going to come up with two,
I thought I'd pick, two of the, Mount Rushmore.
You went big.
Right.
That's huge. Way to go.
What am I going to do? Andy Warhol? I mean, come on. Trying to get people to go, for goodness sakes. Oh boy, did sports deliver yesterday. All the extremes. Outstanding.
It is amazing when you get a game like the second one that had the ebbs and flows that it did, how it can drown out the first game.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And even though the first game was close throughout, the Chiefs had a big decided edge in play in the first half, and that hangover carried over into the second half, even though Chiefs weren't even getting first downs. Do you know before the final drive that the Chiefs ran out the clock on, they had 33 yards in the second half. For as magnificent, and I don't know if Mahomes has ever played any better than he played in the first half. I mean, I don't know about you, Mark, but the guy I watched in the first half against the Ravens in the AFC Championship game, that's the best quarterback of all time.
He was a tactician.
And Travis Kelce, I mean, apparently he played most of this year hurt. He ain't hurt now. I don't know. Looks pretty good for 34.
I mean, Mahomes zips it all over the field. What do you go, 10 for 10 on the first drive?
Completed 80% of his passes in the first half. But when the Ravens got that stop on 4th and 1, kept them in it, that game was winnable, doable. And who knows what would have happened, right? If Zay Flowers hadn't. What a play by Snead, by the way.
Great play.
But I think we all, unless you're a diehard Chiefs fan, wanted to see the Ravens score there. And, okay, 17-14, 14 minutes to go. Game on. All right, let's do this.
Tough day for Zay Flowers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's going to have a long week. Long off season.
Yep. Tough day for Zay. Tough day for Lamar. And the Chiefs are champions. And they showed us why. Again. 4 Super Bowls in 5 years. In a sport that's based on parity. Salary cap and everything. I don't know. That seems pretty impressive. Miller and Moulton. The starting 5 is next. Thanks for listening, Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best, and the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. you quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA-certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Actually, Paul, I think yesterday backs up Gary's belief even more. No, I don't think Variable takes a coordinator job. It's down to apparently the Lions O coordinator and the Ravens D coordinator in Washington.
They were lining right there, DC. I'm with you. It was another awful play. They could have put him at the 2-yard line, give him the 20.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We'll head to Detroit in an hour, talk with Ronnie Duncan. He works for the CBS station there. Head to Kansas City. Our friend of the show, Soren Petro. Heading back to a Super Bowl, this time in Vegas. And Vinny Cerrato, longtime NFL front office executive, covers the Ravens. We'll pick up the pieces in Baltimore in a couple hours. What went wrong, and is it reversible yesterday in Baltimore? Final Monday in January. Thanks for joining us. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Lions led 24-7 at the half. Stayed aggressive. Passed up a 46-yard field goal. Went up 24-10 on 4th and 2 from the 28. Incomplete. Then, after a miracle pass, after a fumble, a few Niners scores. Down 27-24, facing 4th and 3, mid-4th quarter. Passed up a 48-yard field goal, went for it, incomplete. Ended up losing by 3. San Francisco, back in the Super Bowl 4 years later. 34-31 over Detroit. Brock Purdy, once again, at times looked rough, like against the Packers. And then at times looked really clutch. And Purdy's mobility, the big difference in the game. Who'd have thunk it? The Niners will face the Chiefs, which is who they faced in the Super Bowl 4 years ago. Kansas City with a tremendous defensive performance, and they forced 3 turnovers, 2 of them in the end zone. And they held off the Ravens 17-10. Travis Kelce, 11 catches. He now has the most playoff receptions in NFL history, passing some guy named Jerry Rice. Rice still has the TD and yards records for now. 4th Super Bowl appearance in 5 years for the Chiefs. They're 2-1 in the big game. Super Bowl 58. Niners for a second opened as a 2.5-point favorite. Then it was 2. When you woke up this morning, it was 1. This could be a pick'em Super Bowl. For what it's worth, usually when you get a quote-unquote rematch, the teams that won the first time wins the second. Just saying. Look it up. A couple of other NFL notes. The Browns hired former Bills offensive coordinator and former Ken Dorsey as their OC. I think Stefanski's still going to call the plays, but we'll see. And the Eagles hired former Cowboys and Chargers offensive coordinator Kellen Moore to be their OC. Final interviews in Washington. Ravens defensive coordinator, Lions offensive coordinator, believed to be the final 2. NBA, this was the first tell that the Lions were not going to win, because the Pistons and the Lions have not won on the same day since December of 2021. And when Detroit beat Oklahoma City 120-104, we should have known. We should have known. Orlando, they've been struggling.
Yes, they have.
Well, you play the better teams, and it's harder to win. Just saying. Devin Booker scored 44 for Phoenix, but it didn't matter because Orlando outscored the Suns by 18 in the fourth quarter. Magic with a 113-98 win. They're 2 games above 500. Same record as the Heat, by the way. Indiana's the 6th seed in the East. They beat Memphis by 6. 2.5 games ahead of Miami and Orlando for that whole, who's in the play-in and who's not. Atlanta's the 10 seed. They got a dunk with a second to go to beat Toronto 126-125. And the Bulls are the 9 seed. They won in Portland last night, 104-96. All-Star breaks in about a week and a half in the NBA. New York Knicks, Julius Randle, they're the hottest team in the league. They won 6 in a row, 13 of 15. Yeah, he dislocated his right shoulder late in the win against the Heat on Saturday. Now, he's left-handed, so that's a good thing, but they don't know if this is going to be, days, weeks, end of the season surgery. They got to figure it out. And coming up on his 10th anniversary as commissioner, because Adam Silver took over February 1st of 2014. Boy, nothing's happened during that time. Adam Silver is negotiating a contract extension, which will keep him the grand poobah of the NBA through the rest of the decade. That's so he can, A, negotiate the new CBA with the TV networks and expansion. They're looking to expand.
I'm not sure what B was. Hey, David.
Yeah?
We lost it for a second. A was to negotiate the CBA, and B was?
B was expansion.
Just wanted B. You had a little glitch there, and it was like we're all hanging on for B.
Well, I was just seeing if you were paying attention. College hoops. Top-ranked UConn beat Xavier by 43. Second-ranked Purdue went to Piscataway, avoided the upset, beat Rutgers by 8. FAU avoided the big upset at home. They edged North Texas 66-63. Memphis could not avoid the upset at UAB, the 19th-ranked Tigers losing by 9. Women's hoops, South Carolina's 19-0. They beat Vandy by 17. South Florida, Miami, and Florida State, all winners in women's basketball yesterday. Hockey's at the All-Star break. It's really weird, though. There were 2 games yesterday. There's like 2 tonight, 1 Tuesday. It's really weird. Everybody's not breaking at the same time. Now, the Lightning and Panthers, they're done. They got the week off. But so Seattle doubled up Columbus 4-2, and the Blues edged the Kings 4-3 in overtime. For what it's worth, the Panthers have the second-best record in the East, if you haven't been paying attention. They're 5 points behind the Bruins for first. The Lightning have moved into third place in the division. If the playoffs started right now, it'd be the Panthers and the Lightning in the first round. Here's the deal, though. The Lightning may be a point ahead of Toronto, but the Maple Leafs have 3 games in hand. And they may be 2 points ahead of the Wings, but the Wings have a game in hand. So the Lightning have separated themselves in terms of making the playoffs, but playoff positioning right now is precarious for Tampa Bay. Hell of a golf and tennis weekend, Mark. Don't know how many people were paying attention. On Saturday, France's Matthew Pavon won the Farmers Insurance Open. He birdied 18 out of the rough to do it. There's now controversy. Have you seen the video? It looks as if Pavon clearly steps behind his ball with his shoe. Matting down the grass so that you could get your club face on the ball better. Yeah. It's a bad look. Either way, curious if he'll be asked about it. It was not noticed by anybody during the live telecast and in the immediate moments thereafter. This was something that yesterday on social media was like, hey, anybody see this? Because you can't see the ball in the rough. And he ends up hitting an 8-iron 8 feet and winning. Caddy didn't want him to go over the. I mean, wanted him to play safe. I mean, so it was a bit precarious. And he said, "I'm the boss here. I'm going to do it my way." So, hell of a LPGA tournament yesterday. I know there were 9 people who watched because of the whole NFL playoffs, but they had the drive-on championship in Bradenton. So Nelly Corda's got a 4-shot lead. Only for 16 holes, she stinks. She's 5 over par, including going bogey, double, bogey on 14, 15, and 16 to blow the lead. In fact, she's 3 back of Lydia Ko after Ko eagles 17. Ko with a win gains induction into the Hall of Fame because they do it based on points, and she's 1 point shy, and the win would get her in. So Nelly Corda eagles 17 and is the only golfer in the field that birdied 18 to force the playoff. And then Ko chokes like a dog, 3-putting from 10 feet, and Corda wins.
You got that right. I actually had it on the other TV because I saw a social media post on X, and I'm like, oh, I'll throw this on and watch the playoff.
Yeah.
Wow.
10 foot for birdie, leaves it 4 feet short and misses the 4-footer. Yeah. So that Italian, Yannick Sinner, the guy who took out Djokovic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he won the Australian. Interestingly, though, he lost the first 2 sets. See, Medvedev got to the final after he lost the first 2 sets in the semi, and he came back and won in 5. So he figured he'd return the favor to Sinner. He'd win the first 2 sets, and then Sinner would come back and win in 5. It's his first Grand Slam title. Not many Italian men have won Grand Slam events, by the way. Hey, one other golf note. Did you see that Angel Cabrera was in first place in, what was the name of the tournament? It was a KFT event. Anyway, in Argentina, it was the South Open.
Okay.
He was leading it. He just spent 2 years in prison for domestic violence, which of course begs the question, did they have a simulator? Hello. Too soon?
Wow. Did they have a simulator?
Well, how do you explain 2 years out of the joint? He got out of the joint like a few weeks ago. Anyway, he was leading. He ends up finishing 3rd, 3 shots back. I mean, he's like in his 50s now, isn't he? I think Angel's in his 50s. I mean, hell, won the U.S. Open in 07. Won the Masters, I think, in 09. I mean, it's a while ago. Isn't he
54.
Yeah. So, is that inappropriate for me to throw that line out? I'm just wondering. I mean, I don't know. He seems pretty sharp. It would make me question the Argentinian justice system. That's all.
Well, I think when we're looking at justice systems, I don't know how much the Argentinian holds up. I'm guessing he could have bribed a few people to get a simulator in there.
I mean, Adam in our Twitch chat room suggesting a golden tee. So what? That's not going to help you in a real tournament. No. 8 minutes before the hour. That was
the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
And for those of you going, man, you guys are spending a lot of time on other things. Yeah, we've got one football game left. That's how this works, End of January, there aren't many games left. Spring training's in less than 3 weeks. March Madness is like 6 weeks away. Come on now. Hell, the NBA playoffs start in like 9 weeks. I mean, get with the program here. Come on.
They're all going, what about the draft?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Lions draft in what, 29th? Because the Ravens end up,
right.
They had the better record, so they'll draft 30th. Oh. So
Wonder what corner will still be available for the Lions when they pick.
Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Draft will be in Detroit too. That'll be raucous. Not as raucous as it could have been, though. Nice to hear from Trent there.
I'm curious, at any point at halftime, did you look at tickets to Vegas?
No, not at halftime.
No. He had that mapped out before the game.
Was already taken care of. Detroit goes down in flames, as do the Ravens. We'll talk about that and more coming up on the other side. Thanks so much for listening. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What field goal attempt, DC? There was 7:32 to go in the game when
When they
down
missed the
three.
24-27.
When they were down 27-24, there was 7:32 to go on 4th and 3 when they snapped the ball.
Romo didn't scream as much. Do you think he was talked to?
Talked to, read all the stuff. I mean, I still found his commentary inane. He doesn't tell us anything. You know, he doesn't show us
David,
anything.
they ask if they should onside kick it, and he goes, Jay, let's ask the kicker. No, Jim Nantz just asked you. Thought that was fascinating.
So do we have the poll question up?
No, how do you want to word it?
Dan Campbell went for it all year. Do you agree? With him passing up field goals to go for it on 4th down?
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this final Monday of January. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. You know, there were a lot of field goals that were passed up yesterday, Mark. I mean, not just the two that Dan Campbell passed up. I mean, Andy Reid, 14-7, second quarter. 4th and half a yard. Deep in Baltimore territory. Could have kicked the field goal to go up 2 scores. He went for it, got stopped. Now they ended up getting that field goal before the end of the first half. But, you know, even Andy Reid with a very aggressive play. When it wasn't that long ago that the field goal kicker would have been running onto the field before the coach could have turned and told him to run onto the field. And that'll be our poll question. I don't know if it's up yet.
It's up.
All right. Dan Campbell, he coached the NFC Championship game like he coached every other game this year. He went for it virtually every time. Passing up makeable field goals of 46 and 48 yards in a game in which the Lions lost by 3. Did you agree with Dan Campbell's decisions in coaching the NFC Championship game the way that he coached all year? That Mark Miller, I'll retweet it shortly at the David Moulton. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com and vote. Trent, we gave you an hour to get comfortable, to get situated. I'm sure the first hour was a bit of a fog. I'm sure your head is spinning. Your vision is not 2020 today. But first off, people want to know, how the heck are you?
I'm hanging in there. I told you guys the joke before we went on the air. It's just sports. I'm fine. But no, this is the worst I've ever felt with any of my teams in my entire life, and it's not close.
How was the family chat last night? Because I will tell you now, Trent has the job because I've known his dad for a lot of years. And his dad reached out to me a few years ago and said, my son wants to get in this business. Can you give him any advice? And I said, get out of this business as quickly as possible.
Right. Mark spent 2 years telling his old-time friend, listen, you got to get your son to do something different. I mean, paper or plastic's a better career option, really.
But fate would have it that we had a producer job open, and Trent is now with us. So yesterday morning, myself and a friend of mine texted Trent's dad. The first text to Trent's dad was at 6:30 in the morning that we started on your father with, get up, it's game day. Let's go.
Yeah.
I felt badly for you. I felt horribly for your father because, Trent, you may see another one of these. But the odds are your dad and I, this is it.
Come on.
What do you mean?
Come on. Have some faith.
No.
See, look, I'm a lot more optimistic on that front than a lot of people are.
You should be. You're 24.
And it's hard to I know, and people make jokes about that kind of stuff, and I get it. But I love this group. I'm trying to keep it all in perspective because they did do what they haven't done ever this season, and to be able to see that and experience that was awesome, and to taste the victory, like David said, and have it right on your doorstep, and then essentially gift wrap the W for the 49ers. That makes it hurt more. But to answer your question about the family group chat, my dad said nothing. I got nothing out of my dad.
There you go.
He's just beside himself. We all are. It's all this. How many stages of grieving are there? We're just going through those right now.
Well, I just simply sent him a text after the game, said, you okay?
Yeah.
And I got a one-word answer.
No.
35 minutes later that just said tough.
Yeah.
That was it.
Tough is the word. One of the words, but.
So, Trent, live. Not now, because I'm sure you're rationalizing it now.
Yeah.
All right. You're very good at that, by the way. For a young person,
yeah,
you're very good at rationalizing. All right. And that'll probably serve you very well for the rest of your life. But as it was unfolding live, were you agreeing with Dan Campbell? Were you yelling at the TV, that's right, we've done it all year, let's go? Or were you going, come on, Dan, we said January was going to be different. Come on, kick the field goal, buddy.
Live, I wanted points. Live, I wanted 3. But it's kind of like you guys have said. That's what I wanted to do. I also knew there was no chance he was kicking it in either instance. I knew they're going for it. I would have kicked it. I wanted to kick it. Also, people forget, was it the first quarter or the second quarter when they took the points? They took the 3.
At the end of the half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I and that one shocked me even in that moment. I thought he was going to go for it then. So, David, live, I wanted 3 in both instances.
Yeah, I did too. First off, the fact he took as long as he did at the end of the half before sending the kicker out. I mean, I did yell at the TV. I kept it in for as long as I could. All right. I text Danielson. I'm like, oh, come on. He's not going to go for it, is he? And he still hadn't decided to send the kicker out. And I literally yelled at the TV, come on, Dan, coach.
And when they were up 24-10 and they ran it on third, you knew it. That's why, like I give you guys all kinds of credit to sit there and say field goal, because on third down, and I give Olsen credit, who said, well, as soon as they ran the play, he goes, well, obviously they're going for it here.
Well, exactly. That's how I mean, I knew what they were doing. I would have taken 3, but I understand what they were doing and why they were doing it. Because there was also a play on a 3rd and 12 when they ran it to Gibbs the outside, and he got a first down on a 3rd and 12, and it might have been 4-down territory at that point.
All right. I was of the thought live that, first off, I would have sent the kicker out both times. But, okay, I'll justify you going for it up 14, 4th and 2. All right, you're letting it roll. This is how we roll, blah, blah, blah. All right, I'll give you one, Dan. I'm angry that he's not sending the kicker out mid-4th quarter. I'm angry. I'm like, come on, man. And yet, I've had quite a few people fire back at me and go, no, actually, to me, it's the other way around. That by the time the mid-4th quarter came around, I was actually in agreement with Dan. It's like, you know what? Best chance to win the game is probably just to finish this drive off score. Because I will say the Niners, if you don't count the last kneel down drive, Niners had the ball 5 times in the second half. They scored 5 times. 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals. I mean, so Detroit wasn't stopping the Niners in the second half.
No.
But I have to admit, I still was of the belief you kick the field goal here, dude. You tie this game up.
They got nowhere near. They had the 2 sacks on the 1 drive on Purdy, but other than that, they were really nowhere near him. They missed him a bunch of times. Hutchinson had, to me, he deflected the 2 passes in the first half. Other than that, he was non-existent. I thought he had to be great for them to win, and he wasn't great.
It doesn't help when the Niners quarterback's faster than your linebackers. Because every time he broke the pocket, their linebackers were like, yeah, he's too fast for me. Huh. Okay.
Brock Purdy.
Right. So that might be a position of upgrade, maybe. I'm just saying. But so that's where I am on the kicks. Mark, at the end of the day, all right, did you want him to? You have said you knew he wasn't going to. And the play calling on 3rd down both times showed you that he wasn't going to. But what did you want Dan Campbell to do?
I wanted him to, the first one I wanted him to kick to get the 3-score lead. I thought that was important. You were just matching a field goal with another field goal.
Right. And you're taking right. And then 8-9 minutes are off the clock. So now you look up and, hey, we had a 17-point lead at the half. 6 minutes ago, 3rd quarter, still up 17. Pressure really on the Niners.
That's because they had just scored a field goal. They didn't get 6. It wasn't like they put a dent in the lead where you feel like you had to match their touchdown. So I really thought on the first one I would have kicked. On the second one, I would have probably kicked too. I mean, I knew he wasn't going to.
Right. It was 3rd and 10. They throw the out to St. Brown. By the way, the Bills question their play calling in the 3rd quarter, going away with what was working against the Chiefs, and it got them out of their rhythm. Was there a court order that we missed that for an hour the Lions couldn't target St. Brown? I mean, it's not like the Niners have a shutdown corner. Seriously, what Ben Johnson, who's going to get a job probably, but what happened there? There's nobody who can cover him. You guys didn't even target him for an hour. All was falling apart in the world, and you're throwing it to everybody else. What the heck?
You went to Josh Reynolds too many times, to be exact.
Yeah, I mean, and Josh Reynolds, who had a really nice season, had a terrific year, is going to be remembered for the 2 drops on 4th down.
Yep.
That's the way it goes.
Jamison Williams too. That was a little bit more of a tough one in the end zone because his left arm or his right arm got pulled back a little bit. I'm not saying it was PI. I'm just saying it affected his ability, I think, to get his hands on that one. But that's another one that you wonder what would have happened if the Lions could have hauled in one of those 3 drops.
So that's our poll question. Did you agree with Dan Campbell's decision-making? Now, I do think when you answer it, you do need to keep in mind, this is how he coached all year, and he kept saying all year, I'm going to keep making these decisions, just so you know. This is how we roll. This is the pressing basketball team that starts having their press exposed, and they're giving up dunks and wide open threes on the other end. And when asked after the game, Well, they were breaking the press. Why'd you keep pressing? The coach goes, that's who we are. It's what we do. We're not changing now. Yeah, but it wasn't working. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
But the Lions didn't get any stops in the second half. And Campbell knew it. He felt they needed points. He talked that way all week going in. And in a shootout, they ran out of shots in the second half.
Miller and Moulton would have sent the field goal kicker out there. Definitely the first time. And in all likelihood, the second. Thanks for listening. Play of the day coming up.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Why is that hat that color?
Hmm?
Is that a Wings hat?
Yeah, it's a Wings hat.
Gotcha.
You know, the Lions' run defense was great yesterday. All things considered. Got to get a lot better on the back end.
I'm with David. I think the linebackers. I mean, we'll see what Campbell's going to end up being, but I think Anzalone, he's just a guy.
He's interesting because, like, when they're, and you could say this about a lot of guys, but when they're playing, when they're rolling, when they're playing well, he is he goes as the team goes. Like he last year when the Lions started 1-6, he was the worst player on the team, and then when they started winning games, he was good for a turnover a game. It was the weirdest thing. And then, you know, he's a captain and a leader, but yeah, you got to have another linebacker. You got to get a corner, you know, a number one corner. But I really like the run defense up the middle. McNeil. I'm a fan. All right. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. We'll head to Detroit. A little more than 15 minutes time. We'll talk with Ronnie Duncan of CBS News Detroit. Head to Kansas City, top of the hour. Soren Petro. Chiefs headed back to the Super Bowl. 4th time in 5 years. I mean, does it ever get old, Hat? We'll ask Soren. And Vinny Cerrato in a little more than an hour. Longtime NFL executive. Covers the Ravens, lives in Baltimore these days, worked for the Niners for a long time. We'll talk to Vinny about what went wrong for Baltimore yesterday. Mark, going to do something I've never done before. Going to wish someone a happy birthday. Okay, like Harry Carey during the ball game. 6'2" Cubs, and just want to wish a happy 10th birthday to Crew. He and his dad are headed to school this morning, and I just want to say thanks for raising a little bud man. Happy birthday, Crew. Here's Kingman at the plate.
I like how you did that with the head shaking the whole time, like you'd had 6 or 7 Budweisers. That was the most impressive part of the whole invitation right there, is the head bob.
Thank you. Thank you. So apparently a young dad and his kid, they listen to our show on the way to school. So, you know.
So you're giving birthday wishes now.
Well, you know, I always listen to those baseball announcers, you know, doing that. You know, it's a Tuesday in June, and, you know, hey, Mary Jo Walsh is celebrating her 83rd birthday. She's listening to us in Muskogee. Listens every night on 1410 WCNC. Happy birthday, Mary Jo. 5-3 Brewers here in the 5th. I mean, I just, so, you know, we've done a lot of things with this show. I don't think we had ever done a birthday greeting before. I mean, we've wished each other and our moms and wives and kids, but, you know, that's all. I just.
And he's 10, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Double digits. That's a big one.
It is.
Happy birthday, Crew.
Yeah. Yeah. Young lady in Mark's life's going to celebrate that one coming up in about 100 days. So,
yeah. A couple 3-4 months here. There she hits big double digits as well.
Right. So that's all. I figured, you know, I don't know how often we're going to do that. I just thought, you know.
And wants a phone.
Is that what she does? She wants a phone?
She wants a phone.
I think we held off till like a little longer and did it sooner than we wanted to, only for, quote, safety reasons.
Well, and that's where, like, literally, you know, my daughter's into gymnastics and she's okay. She's pretty good. And if she gets to the next level, the practices will become a little more intense. And she's been told by her mother, if she gets to the next level, that she'll probably need a phone because there'll be a lot more dropping off as opposed to sitting there for the hours on end that I sit there.
Right. Because those days have to stop. I mean, this whole unconditional love thing, sometimes you got to put conditions to it.
Sometimes you got to write something into the contract.
Sometimes those wooden benches just start really bothering you, and you got to make allowances for it.
I'll tell you what, nowadays it is getting more and more normal for kids that age to have a phone. I didn't get my first phone until I was 14, but I think I was part of the tail end of that generation that got them as teenagers, not 10-year-olds,
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, how old were you when you got your first phone?
27.
Well, that's good, Mark, because I got my first phone at 37.
Believe it or not, too, I was one of the last people to get my phone.
Oh, I don't doubt it at all.
My parents had a very strict rule. Credit to them. They stuck to it. For your 14th birthday, you can get a phone.
So my daughter had a birthday party to go to yesterday. And my wife had plans, so I had to take her to the birthday party. Birthday party was 2 to 4, by the way.
Whoa! Come on now.
I had planned on just dropping her off, but then I felt a little guilty. Unfortunately, the place that it was a bowling event, and come on, bowling alleys have bars,
right? And TVs.
And TVs. So I'm like, you know what? I can do this. I can make this happen.
Happy 10th birthday, crew.
Yeah.
Hey, this bud's for you, Mark.
But on the way home, my daughter got a Slinky in the little gift bag, and I started singing the Slinky song. And she's like, what was that? I'm like, it was a commercial, honey. When we watched cartoons, we didn't just grab that tablet and turn on exactly. I had 3 channels, sweetie.
All right.
And we memorized all the commercials because they were on every Saturday morning.
Yeah, you guys couldn't just click skip ad at the bottom right.
It's called a jingle, okay? A jingle. They will live with you forever. Yes.
So I had the Slinky song in my head for most of the day yesterday.
We need more jingles. We do.
Jingles are a good thing.
So how much grief nationally do you think the Detroit Lions / Dan Campbell are saving Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, and the Ravens?
An unbelievable amount. Because the question I got yesterday from a friend is Lamar going to get it the same way Dak got it?
He wasn't good.
No.
Big game, biggest game of his life. He did not play well. There's no two ways around it. Now, I don't think his offense coordinator helped him, but he didn't play well. That interception was horrendous. Triple coverage down the middle of the field in the end zone when you're in scoring range and you're down 2 scores. Oh, my goodness. That's third-string quarterback trying to make the team in August throws. Man.
And the game plan was bad. And they never deviated and didn't run the ball enough.
Andy Reid coached circles around Harbaugh yesterday. In my
Spags also. Steve Spagnuolo, head coach, has been the architect of some tremendous defensive performances. Going back to the Giants against the undefeated Patriots and what he's done with the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's probably a better way to put it. Spags does not need to buy any drinks of his own in Kansas City for the next 2 weeks.
Well, Andy Reid won the first half over the young defensive coordinator for the Ravens. Young defensive coordinator did a hell of a job in the second half. 29 minutes after the hour. All right, Trent, what'd you pick?
I wanted to pick something from the first game, but look, this Ayuk play was ridiculous. Third quarter, 6.5 minutes to play. Lions are nursing a 14-point lead on the 49ers. Purdy steps up from the 45, zips one over the middle to Brandon Ayuk. Lions cornerback Kendall Vilder gets his hands on it, or somewhat goes through his hands, hits him in the face, and of course, a little magic happens.
Here's Purdy with a lot of time. Steps into one. Launching deep, going for Brandon Ayuk. It is. Oh, he caught it off the ricochet. Penalty. Is he in? He's down to the 5.
Had he not caught it, they probably would have left the flag down, called pat. I don't know if they would have, but
What penalty?
Yeah, that
The
was
defensive back was in better position for the ball. Who
I'm
were they going to? I thought there was a better chance they were going to call Ayuk. What penalty? That would have been outrageous if
I
that was a
agree.
penalty.
I'm just basing it off what the broadcast was saying. And, I agree, David. I thought maybe it was going to be a push on Ayuk, but
I
nonetheless,
didn't know what the heck the flag was for.
leads to a Christian McCaffrey run in. Niners cut it to 7, and that pretty much kickstarted their run. There's your play of the day presented by Molly Maid.
Oh, the Molly Maid play of the day. Poor Trent. 774-5839. May have to send it over to his aunt and uncles in Cape Coral. Clean that mess up that Trent may have left yesterday. It's our Molly Maid play of the day.
What a pro picking that as the play of the day, which was the play of the day. But what a pro putting his personal disgust aside. Well done, young man. Take the rest of the show off. Ronnie Duncan is next.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, Nick, I actually had 38 in my head because I thought once the Niners figured it out, I thought they would. I literally said in my head, I go, the Niners could get the ball 5 times and score 5 times. I go, but if I'm Detroit, get to 38. What do you mean in a certain time frame? It only takes what, 5 seconds to do the Big Mac jingle? Lamar's got a Peyton Manning start to his career. Bless you.
Thank you. Dude's not answering.
Oh, good.
There we go. Yep, he's got him. We're good. For future, always let him know. You might want to do it the other way around just because David talks first.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the top of the hour. Soren Petro from Kansas City. Chiefs going to the 4th Super Bowl in 5 years. That's ridiculous. Friend of the show. He'll join us top of the hour. Vinny Cerrato, longtime friend of the show as well. Ravens picking up the pieces. He'll join us 1 hour from now. Ronnie Duncan, kind enough to join us for the first time. CBS News in Detroit. That's what WWJ goes by. He does sports there. Ronnie, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time. I don't know whether to ask you, is Ronnie for Ronnie or Ronnie the sports guy? How you doing this morning?
Hey, man, some people just still say Ronnie Slam Duncan, but David and Mark, thanks so much for having me here as a guest. It's a bum morning. I've lost my voice, but we're still here.
All right. Our poll question. Dan Campbell went for it all year. We know that. I'm a Michigan native. The producer that you talked to is a Lion season ticket holder. We follow this team. This isn't just a Monday morning that we've stumbled on Dan Campbell. He goes for it all the time. In the moment, did you agree with the decisions, Ronnie?
Not in the moment. And the reason why, let's put it this way. You and I have seen it all season. We know two people. There's Dan Campbell, and then there's Dan Gamble. And what's going to have to happen during the offseason is going to have to be a remedial class on managing games and what works and what doesn't work. And you've got to look at statistics, and you've got to look at game situations. And the one thing that got you there got you killed. Let's face it, 17 points in the third quarter should not have happened. A big turnover by Jahmyr Gibbs. I've talked to so many people during the season, and they ignored it. I said, you know what? I love this kid. But the way he carries the ball, it could be a turnover situation. I guarantee you every defensive coordinator has talked about that with Jahmyr Gibbs. With, of course, God-given talents, you can get away with some things. but sometimes you can't. And the other big factor in this game, and nobody's talking about it, 4 targets to one person. In the NFL, when you get 4 targets, you're supposed to at least have 2 catches. Why did my man, Josh Reynolds, only have 1? Think about it. Timely situations. Jared Goff played well. No interceptions. Yes, he had a great quarterback rating at halftime. But if you don't help him, he can't help himself.
Well, and we were wondering, and we're talking with Ronnie Duncan, CBS News Detroit, that, they went away from St. Brown for an hour. I mean, there's not a shutdown corner on the Niners, and they play a lot of zone. I mean, we're kind of wondering what the heck happened to St. Brown.
St. Brown was on MIA, missing in action. As a matter of fact, at halftime, you know what happened? They placed out a milk carton, and his face was there, and everybody brought it. He was still in the game, still to be found, should have been thrown to. But the other thing is this. How about the kid? The one from Alabama, Mr. Williamson. Look how many targets he had. Look how many catches he had. Look at his natural skill and what he could do. And yes, that one pass by Jared Goff could have been a touchdown had he not slowed down, but they've got to get their timing together. Here's the factor that I have. At the beginning of the season, I said the Lions are going to the Super Bowl. I remember talking to Kevin James, of course, the comedian, and talking to Mark and Donnie Wahlberg doing an event here, and they were laughing at me, and I was like, hey, the first shall be first, and the last shall be last. It's in the Bible. And he said, what are you talking about? What's the first game of the season? It's Kansas City and Detroit. What's going to be the last game of the season? Kansas City and Detroit. Oh, they laughed. I thought I had a chance. 24-7 at halftime, 17-point deficit. Only 18 has been the other big deficit in the NFC Championship game. Should not have happened. The greatest of all time, of course, spent a lot of time down there in the Florida State. And I'm talking about Muhammad Ali had one thing. He says, I'm the greatest of all time. If he didn't believe it, he couldn't achieve it. If you don't believe it, no one will believe it. And the factor was simply this. Publicly, stop all this Super Bowl talk. We don't want to talk about that. But privately, we're going to Super Bowl, but don't tell anybody. Maybe the biggest mistake the Lions made all season was not publicly and privately saying we're going to the Super Bowl. And why not? When you try to achieve the greatest gift, the biggest catch, then that's what you talk about. And I'll give you another Florida sort of like caveat with this. It's hard to get to the Super Bowl. Hard to get to the Super Bowl. You can have a great career with better teams, and you could be a better player. But you could go early in your career and thinking, I'll get here again. That was easy. If you think it is, ask Dan Marino.
No doubt. No doubt. And Dan Gamble talked about it, how it's going to be twice as hard next year to get there. And, I really thought that Detroit had to have the game I thought Hutchinson had to have the game of his life for them to win. In the second half, he couldn't get to the quarterback. They got to the quarterback twice in one series, but they just were unable to do anything to Brock Purdy.
If you look at Aiden Hutchinson's numbers, and I know that both of you guys have a computer there, look at his numbers. It's almost like he didn't play. Look at his numbers. How many tackles?
Yeah, he had the 2 batted down passes in the first quarter.
There you go.
Yep.
And of course, I was being very happy because, hey, here's a kid from Jackson State, HBCU, Deion Sanders. Then I saw number 41, and I was like, hey, man, he's in the game. He's back. No ankle injury. And the only time we even heard of James Harrison was what? Oh, by the way, when he should have been hit with a penalty for the helmet going straight to Josh Purdy. You got to take and make Josh Purdy uncomfortable. When you are up 24-7 at halftime, let's stop making excuses. Excuses are tools of the incompetence, which build monuments upon nothing, and those who specialize in them seldom become anything other than excuses. I shoulda, coulda, woulda doesn't make a difference. I love Dan Campbell, but you just said it. Next season, this ain't no secret no more. Next season, we beat them. They almost made it to the Super Bowl. They were in the playoffs. They made it to the division championship. You ain't no secret no more. So the biggest thing that has to happen right now for the Detroit Lions and for the Detroit Lions fans is simply this. Your general manager, Super Brad, got to be super bad when it comes to the draft. And let's face it, Cam Sutton on an island alone is almost like talking to Wilson. Okay? He's too small. I'm sorry. If this was the land of Oz and we had, of course, the Munchkins and midgets could go ahead and be supreme, he'd be the man. But he ain't my man on an island by himself. Cam Sutton has got to go. They've got to fix that defensive secondary. They've got to have some shutdown corners. And you better find them. And look, Anzalone, love him. But I don't need a stat stuffer who's not getting people beyond 10 yards. Because that's his thing. What he does beyond 10 yards, I need you to make sure it's negative before we get to a first down. I was very happy with Campbell as a rookie. But we've got to get a better volume. Did you see the way the San Francisco linebackers came alive in the second half? That's what you need from Detroit. Tighten up that defense. Offense is good. Let's hope that Ben Johnson doesn't get a job this offseason and he has to come back for one more season because he is magic. He is brilliant. His play calling is superb. But let's see what happens.
Ronnie Duncan, CBS News, Detroit. How do you think Lions Nation is going to process this? Are they going to say that's our Dan Campbell and, you know, we'll live with them? Or did the honeymoon end at 9:00 last night?
It's almost like it was baseball 1995 and 1997. And you wake up in the morning and you say, how did we lose that game? And you're Cleveland. How did we lose that game to Atlanta? How did we lose that game to the Marlins? And you think it's a nightmare. Wake me up. Dude, I woke up this morning thinking, they didn't lose, they won. And I'm like, no, they lost. It hurts. And that's how Lions Nation is feeling. That's how you're feeling right now. Come on. You thought, oh, my goodness, first time since 1957. We're going. We're getting October the road. We love you. Rock wrote, your son went to Florida, was a great sportscaster. No, we lost. So now what was done in 57 still stands. And you can talk about Barry's great games and how close things are, but they're hurting. They're hurting because they came so close. And you know what happened? And I think you can understand this. They were winning at halftime. And then those same old Lions showed up in the second.
Oh, you used that phrase, did you? You had to go there. Ronnie Duncan, CBS
It's true,
News.
brother.
Detroit.
It's true. Ronnie, I'm 54 years old. I'm born in Saginaw, Michigan. It's true, my man. I tell everybody I don't have the Lions gene.
I'm 65 years old. Wasn't around when Tobin wrote 1 in 57. It hurts. I came here and I was like, look, I'm tired of all this negativity. I said, they're going to be fine. They're going to win. They're going to beat Green Bay. They may not make the playoffs. Okay. 98. I mean, Dan Campbell has done a sensational job. In basketball, you live by the jump shot, you die by one. LeBron doesn't have one. But you live by the jump shot, you die by one. Okay? You live by the Dan Gamble, you die by the Dan Gamble. And that's exactly what happened. You can say whatever you want. Those were two important numbers to get in the fourth quarter, and he said no. And you saw the field goal kicker sitting there going, man, let me do my thing, man. I can do this. No, but it's basic mathematics. It's basic arithmetic. It's basic strategy. He's got to take that remedial class this offseason. It's called game management. Romeo Crennel got fired for not having game management.
Ronnie Duncan.
You got to be able to communicate.
Detroit.
Let's put it this way. We don't need him to have Bill Belichick's personality. We love what he does. Everybody wants to play for him. But please have that intellect to know what you need to do in situations of greatness. I'll put it to you this way. One of the greatest coaches if not the greatest coach of all time. The first coach I fell in love with when he became the youngest coach in the NFL. He is loyalty in the NFL. He is royalty in Miami. I'm talking Don Shula. Would he have played that game that way? Hell to the no.
Ronnie, thanks so much for your time and your insight. And good luck with you and all your friends and viewers today.
You're good. Good luck with you. Man, you know we dying over here.
I know that.
We're dying over here. Everybody's going to dissect this game as if it was their first assignment in 7th grade with a frog. We're looking for every missing piece. But it's obvious. Brad Holmes has got to do a job of addressing the defense. A linebacker, a corner. Brian Branch played well yesterday. Did you see the camera when it kept going to Brian Branch and how, you just saw this look on his face and it was so sad. Josh Reynolds, for the first time, had the kind of game everybody thought he was going to have and maybe not even make the team. And what we saw can be corrected. What you saw can be corrected with Jahmyr Gibbs. And there's a problem that's about to exist, and no one wants to talk about it, especially not now. But, there's a Batman and Robin thing. It was real good when Dave Montgomery and then, of course, Gibbs came along. The way Gibbs played, you think he still wants to be Robin?
Nope.
We'll be the sheriff in town. His name is
just that.
I'm Ronnie Duncan in closing. 3, 2, 1. I'm done.
Thanks, Ronnie. Appreciate it.
All right. You take care.
That's Ronnie Duncan, who's a member, by the way, of the American Basketball Hall of Fame. All right. Covering sports in Detroit. Speaking the truth, as painful as it is for Trent and Lions faithful.
Oh, the pain in that man's voice right there. That was a little window into his soul. He's finishing a segment with Trent right now. They're still.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I don't know if we'll get Soren Petro on in 9 minutes because I think that Trent and Ronnie are still going to be talking. So we'll just let them be. Mark, you may have to get up and send us to break in about a minute. Press the right buttons.
I can do that.
Okay.
Vote on our poll question. Do you agree with Dan Gamble and his decisions? Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, or FloridaSportsNetwork.com to vote.
I would have kicked the field goals. Mark would have kicked the field goals. Especially the first one, right?
The first one.
You were a little more okay with the second one?
I was okay with the second one. Thought they needed 7 to put San Francisco, because they weren't stopping the Niners.
Miller and Moulton. Meanwhile, we're going to go to Kansas City, where all they do is win.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Trent still talking to Ronnie?
No.
Okay.
I talked to him for a quick second because he works at WWJ, which is where when I did the show for student radio at MSU, we did our morning talk show. My co-host, he works at WWJ now, so I just told him to, to say hello. By the way, Super Bowl quarterback Josh Purdy.
Yep.
I loved every minute of that. That was great. David's trying to get him off the, it's like.
Well, he just had. I mean, Jim Rome thought he had some long pauses. I mean, there were two of them there.
Yeah, right.
So I figured, well, he's done. And then no, he was just regrouping. Then Mark thought he was done. No, he was just regrouping. Okay.
Then, did you see Brian Branch on the sideline?
I will say there was a hell of a moment. Apparently, there's an injured player for the Niners who went to Alabama. And so he walked across the field, and Branch was just sitting there, while all the celebration was going on, and Branch was really dejected. And the guy came over in his street clothes, sat next to him, put his arm around him, was talking to him.
Oh yeah, Cam Latu.
Clark, he looked terrific. He looked that way against both. He looks like whatever was bothering him all year, he's got his burst back. He looked slow during the year.
Got to get Soren.
Okay, sorry. That might be a second. 10 seconds till you guys come back, and I'll get them.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And just like that, it's the third and final hour along the network on this final Monday of January. Thanks for being with us, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Our poll question, Dan Campbell went for it all year. You agree with him passing up the field goals to go for it on fourth down yesterday? So far, nearly 3/4 of you are going, yeah, I don't care about all year. It's the playoffs. No, you kick the damn field goal. We should be playing the Chiefs. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, floridasportsnetwork.com. Vote accordingly. Soren Petro covers the Chiefs, Sports Radio 810 in Kansas City. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Soren Petro, Soren Petro. Soren, it's David and Mark. We figure, we used to bother you for AFC championship games and during the season, but since you guys are the new title town, we just wait until the end of the year, if that's okay.
Yeah, I listen, you're smarter than me because I didn't think I'd be sitting here talking to you today based upon how the season went.
Well, talk about yesterday's defensive performance. I mean, it was a interestingly called game from Baltimore's standpoint, but the Chiefs' defense, which has been great all year, was even better yesterday.
Yeah, and I think maybe one of the things that, from watching the grind of the season, and when I said I didn't think we'd be here, is because of the play of the offense and not the defense. You're absolutely right. The defense number 2 in the NFL in points allowed. And if you go back and look, it could have been a lot better, right? That's based on all the points that were given up. And in the Raider game, the Chiefs got cute and fumbled, I think, at about their own 20 and gave up a short field for a touchdown. And Patrick Mahomes threw a pick six. In the Lions opener, Kadarius Toney had one go off his hands for a pick six. He had another one that he dropped 4 or 5 balls that were thrown his way that day. He had another game later in the year where he gave up a pick six. There were a lot of points that were allowed by the Kansas City Chiefs that weren't allowed by the defensive side of the ball. They were allowed by the offense, or the offense setting up a short field, or some scores late in losses that went for the other team because the defense just basically ended up being out on the field all day because the offense couldn't stay on the field. So you're absolutely right, 100% correct. And really, as good as the numbers look, when you go back and look game by game by game, and every team has this, right? I'm not saying the Chiefs are the only team that have given up points on their offense, but they have a lot of it, a lot of those mistakes. They were really a sloppy football team throughout the year on offense, and it cost the defense statistically. So coming in, they were very good, but they were actually even better than what the numbers would tell you.
What surprised you the most about yesterday?
A lack of sloppiness, right? And you still saw it. Like, one of the things that happens every game, 2 or 3 times a game, is Creed Humphrey rolling the football back to Patrick Mahomes. For whatever reason, just snapping the football in the shotgun has become a real problem. I mean, he's tremendous once he gets the football out of his hands. The blocking part, he's great, and I assume the blind calls he's great at as well. But the snapping is not good, and that's gone on all year. Penalties, they cut down on the penalties. Juwan Taylor is the most penalized player in the NFL. He had 1, and if you go back and look at it, he was beaten on the play, but I don't even know that he should have been called for holding on the play. So, holding penalties, turnovers, bad turnovers, bad decisions, even against Buffalo. McCole Hardman fumbled the ball out of the end zone when he was going in for a touchdown because he reached out for it and it got knocked out of his hands. Same way it happened to Zay Flowers. When they stopped a fake punt by Buffalo, they only had 10 guys on the field. They didn't even get everybody out on the field. So they had been a really sloppy team, particularly on special teams and on the offense throughout the year. Really only on special teams and the offense. The defense had been great all year. And those things had cost them many times. Like I said, there are 2 games that Kadarius Toney was really responsible for them losing, right? You can put 2 wins on the board if he just doesn't show up to the stadium. Marquez Valdez-Scantling dropped a ball that was right in his hands against the Philadelphia Eagles on the Monday night game that would have given them a lead with 30 seconds to go in the game. So, they constantly shot themselves in the foot. And long about the Cincinnati game, week 14, week 15, they started to clean those things up, simplify some things on offense, and they've gotten a lot better. But even since the Buffalo game, like I said, they were still a very sloppy team. This one, it was about as clean a football game as they played, and it's something that they needed to beat the Ravens.
And it didn't hurt that Travis Kelce maybe had his best game of the season, certainly his best one in several months, and at the perfect time.
Yeah, and I think that's a combination of things. One, he was hurt right before the season. He missed that Lions game because he had a hyperextended knee. I don't know how long. Maybe that was carrying over and affecting him. He got to get to the end of the year, and he sat out. I think it's an important note. He was 16 yards away from his 8th consecutive 1,000-yard season. No tight end in history had ever had more than 3 consecutive ones. So, yes, he had the record. He was way out in front of everybody. But that's quite a milestone there, 16 yards. And he said, nope, I'm not playing the last game. And, they left it up to him because they gave Chris Jones a chance to play into the second half to try to get his 10th sack, which gave him $1.25 million in that last game. So, they probably went to Travis Kelce and said the same thing. Do you want to go for a half? If you can get it in a half, we'll give you a chance to keep that going. And Kelce said, no, what's best is to get the rest. So, he had a couple of weeks off going into that first playoff game, and I think it's really helped him. He's played some of his best football. That and the combination of Rashee Rice emerging as a real threat has forced defenses to have someone else that they have to account for.
Soren Petro, Sports Radio 810 in Kansas City. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Soren Petro, Soren Petro. Hey, first between, dating Taylor Swift, and then also because between the quarterback and the tight end, they're seemingly in every commercial that we see. And the Chiefs have done a lot of winning now. There's been a little Chiefs fatigue. We're tired of the Chiefs, anybody but the Chiefs. And it seems as if from afar, Soren, that the Chiefs picked up on it because the Chiefs have always been the nice guys, and late in the season and in the playoffs, whether it's having to go on the road, whether it's being underdogs, whether it's just the negative vibe they're sensing, the Chiefs seem to have adopted an attitude which over the last 5-6 years, I don't remember them having.
Is that well, from a standpoint of the bad guys? I mean, this is something I know on my show we talked about, going back to 2018 when they really emerged with Patrick Mahomes and his 5,000-yard, 50-touchdown season. I said, listen, enjoy being everybody's darling because this kid's not going anywhere. You're going to win a lot of football games, but if you think everybody's going to pick you, I said it's going to go from everybody wanting to pick the Chiefs and they're the new flavor to everyone being tired of the Chiefs, and every analyst you see nationally is going to start to come up with reasons why the Chiefs aren't going to win. They're going to give you the reason because it's not fun. It's not cool to just go with, I'm going with the chalk. I'm going with the team that always wins. I go, there will be fatigue, the same way you put it. And I think it's just natural. And, there are even Patriot fans. I saw one of the things that was going around amongst all the Chiefs fans were different little, Instagram posts from Patriots fans saying the Chiefs are the Patriots. And they are. I mean, they're a team that's playing for, a lot of people say, we got to win 3 to be a dynasty. Okay. Well, this is they're playing for, their chance to be a dynasty. And I think it does get old. And I get it. If you're a fan of another team, watching one team have all the success gets boring, if not frustrating, right? So I totally get it. Then throw in, you're running around, you've got your star tight end running around with the biggest star on the planet. Like, how much do we need to see? How many commercials do we need to see? I'll say this. They do relish it. I think Travis Kelce relishes it. And I think Patrick Mahomes, I think he's always a humble, understated guy for how good he is. He always seemingly says the right thing. The first time we had anything to question whether or not he did something right, in my opinion, was when he lost his cool in the game on the sideline and was trying to yell at the ref and everything like that. That's the only thing you could question. And a lot of people still loved it. They thought, hey, he's the one guy just trying to fire up his team. He's as mad at his receivers for dropping everything as he is the refs, but he's going to take it out in the right way by yelling at the refs. I don't know. I get that, mindset of we've seen this, enough of this, and they do embrace it. And I think Patrick Mahomes really embraced the, well, he's never won on the road. I know Scott Van Pelt, that was a big one on ESPN, and he always said, and I believe him, I don't know that it's true of other people, that, hey, listen, I just want to see it. And I think when you haven't checked the box, you want to prove it. Now, first of all, give Patrick Mahomes anything to prove, and he's going to go out and do it. I think the fact that Lamar Jackson was, probably going to be getting another MVP, that he went out there with a mission to prove, I'm the best. I remember when they played Baltimore back in 2019 after he'd had a season, and he was ranked the fourth best player in the NFL by the players, by his peers, and Lamar Jackson was number one. And that game, it was a Sunday or Monday night. When he got the Ravens down and looked, it was clear that the Chiefs were going to win. At one time, he looks down at his hands, knowing full well that the camera's always on him, and counts out 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just kind of shakes his head and was basically saying, okay, I'm fourth. There is a competitive nature, the likes of Michael Jordan. When you tell somebody, hey, you tell him you haven't won on the road, and that was a lot of the questions going into the game in Buffalo. He makes a point of it, and it was the first time he's had a chance to check that box. And like, he checked 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, MVP in his first year, checked Super Bowl champion in his second year. He checked that box as quick as he could.
Well, and I think the first thing you said, Soren, was talking about the not playing sloppy. Throughout that game, Baltimore made a lot of mistakes with penalties, and the Chiefs played an edgy game. It was edgy from the warm-ups. With the kickers getting at one another. This game had an edge to it, and the Chiefs maintained their discipline throughout.
Yeah, they did. And again, that has been a really big problem. And I think it got Baltimore off its game, and it allowed the Chiefs to take the football away. And that's something as good as they've played on defense. They've only had 5 takeaways in the last 10 games coming into that game against Baltimore. And so they had not taken the football away. They just played good, sound defense. And I think Baltimore got rattled. I think they knew Baltimore was going to try to be the tougher team and be physical and try to intimidate the Chiefs. And so they were ready for it. And I think the coaching staff knew, listen, this is what's going to happen, and let's set the tone from the get-go. And, they've sat down a lot of the guys that have been their problems. Kadarius Toney is nowhere to be found with a mystery injury because of all his stuff. Sky Moore, who dropped a lot of footballs early, doesn't get on the game. He too is listed as injured, although everyone's kind of curious as to, is he really injured? They have done the things that they needed to do to play better football. It's really like for 3/4 of the season, they did everything they could to try to be the team they wanted to be. And along about that Bengals game, they shifted gears and said, okay, this is the team we are, and we have to embrace it. And that is by playing good defense. Our defense is going to be there. Let's not put them in bad situations. A punt isn't the worst thing in the world. A field goal isn't the end of the world compared to a touchdown. Let's stop trying to be the greatest, offensive show in the league, and let's focus on our strengths. And I think one of their strengths coming into this game was experience and poise. And they knew the Ravens maybe didn't have the experience, and maybe they could cost them their poise. And I think they got in their head, clearly.
Soren Petro, Sports Radio 810 in Kansas City. He's headed to Miami, Tampa, and Phoenix for past Super Bowls. He'll have to tough it out and go to Vegas this time. Soren, all the best to you and the family. Safe travels.
Thank you very much. Always great being with you.
Soren Petro, kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton. Tough gig next week. Sports radio, middle of the day in Vegas. Man, don't know how he's going to do it.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous huge burgers and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Adam, that's kind of been a thing with Goff his whole career. I'm not going to whine about it because I don't, I mean, that's just, he doesn't really throw a very hard ball. I thought Goff was fine yesterday. At least
I thought Goff had a good game. I thought he was just fine. They said, Adam, that he had to throw that pretty quickly too, and he might not have been able to grab it on the laces. I mean, they kind of
flea flicker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just a miss. Granted, it was going to Josh Reynolds, so you never know if he was actually going to catch it.
That's a valid point.
But Mark, you nailed it. I mean, the Gibbs fumble is when everything turned on a dime. Because even before that, I mean, you can weather the storm. If you're still up 7. You go just get points. And it's not even. It's that it happened on the first play of the drive. Give it right back to him. McCaffrey's red hot.
There's a reason a lot of those DBs are DBs. Because they were receivers once upon a time and can't catch.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy.
Josh Purdy? My one brother, younger brother, he texted us and was like, I'm not watching the Super Bowl. He's not going to watch it. Apparently he's going to go do something with the girlfriend. I don't know what he's going to do. He's not watching the Super Bowl. He's taking this a lot harder than I am, actually.
What if she turns to him and says, hey, put the Super Bowl on?
Hey, oddly enough, the funny thing is she's a diehard Taylor Swift fan. So she's probably
watching.
She's going to want to watch. And he is going to be the one that's going to be sick watching two other teams play.
Wow. Worse than if the Cowboys were there. Come
I
on.
was going to say Empire.
Come on.
No offense. What Eagles fan has a soft spot for any other team? I mean, did you watch the Giants in the Super Bowl? I mean, come on.
Oh, I love sports. Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. San Francisco, Kansas City, a rematch from 4 years ago in the Miami Super Bowl. That's what we've got. 2 weeks of hype. Hey, I don't know if you're aware, but the tight end of the Chiefs is dating Taylor Swift. Is
I
that
heard
out?
that.
Is that public knowledge?
I heard that.
And the quarterback of the Chiefs and the tight end for the Chiefs, they've become, Madison Avenue darlings. You're starting to see more commercials of that. I don't want to say they have a lot of commercials, Mark, but Peyton Manning has said, what is up with all the Mahomes commercials? I mean, that's how many commercials he has. I'm just saying. Our poll question, Dan Campbell, come on now. We love him. We still love him, right?
Yes.
Come on. He said it all year. I mean, were we not listening? He said, I'm going to go for it on fourth down. That's my thing. That's our thing. That's how we're playing. It's how we're going to do this.
Josh Reynolds catches those two balls. We're all spending today going, there he is, Dan Campbell.
I think even if he catches one of them, I would contend.
And so our poll question's about biting kneecaps Dan Campbell. He coached the game the way he had coached all the others this year. Did you agree with his decisions, or did you go, Dan, this is the NFC Championship game? We've been trying to tell you all year, this is cute, this is fun, but there's going to come a time where you got to, look at the scoreboard, man. Just do the math. So that's where I am. That's where Mark was. Trent, loyal.
I can easily live with his decision because I knew what he was going to do.
And that's kind of where I am. I would have kicked it, but I never once gave it any thought. When I'm watching the Lions play, and David, I know you're always doing the game like a color analyst. That's how you watch football. You're looking at the next play, and that's – and if you're Olsen in that spot – you're not really ever given the opportunity to say, well, I would have kicked, I'd be planning on kicking it here because you know that Dan Campbell's going for it.
He had the opportunity. I mean, it takes 2 seconds. He could say, well, listen, that play, which he did, that play call tells me they're going for it on fourth. I would kick. Okay. But this is how he's coached all year. The play call on third down was an indicator they're going for it on fourth. Here we go. But I think it's your job as an analyst. You've got to offer up, I wouldn't do this, or I would do it. I like it. So to me, passing up the tying field goal with 7:32 to go was egregious. Now, there are more people, I'm getting the sense, that actually agreed more with his second go for it than his first. Because by then, the Niners had scored 4 possessions in a row, and the thought was, well, yeah, probably should go for it here. It's probably their best chance to win the game. Okay. I think 7.5 minutes ago, guys makes 80% of the kicks that you're about to send them out to kick. Just send them out to kick. you don't convert 4th and 3 80% of the time. So send the damn kicker out. We're going to play this analytics game. I'll play the analytics game with you. What are you more likely to convert, 4th and 3 or a 48-yard field goal? 48-yard field goal. So, but we know what he did. We know how it turned out. The Niners are in the Super Bowl, where they're a 1-point favorite. They opened at 2.5. It was 2 in like 13 seconds. And when you woke up this morning, it was 1. I actually think there's a chance the Chiefs could be a 1-point favorite by the time we kick this game off. This is going to be like back in the day, Mark, when Elway and Phil Simms were in the Super Bowl. And Elway, he had just done the drive against Cleveland, and and so and Phil Simms was just like hum-dee-dum-dee-dum-dee-dum. I mean, think about the difference at quarterback. Patrick Mahomes, people are saying that he's the greatest quarterback of all time. People are saying that. They're like, listen, Brady's got a better resume, but if I had to start a franchise, I'd start it with Mahomes. Give me all the players in the history of the league to start a franchise. I'll pick him. You can have anybody else you want, number 2.
Thought it was, it was very telling yesterday as you're watching Lamar Jackson, who's going to win his second MVP.
Yep.
Even before the game started. Not after the game when Lamar played poorly. Before the game started, one quarterback's going to be the second MVP, and there's not anybody in the league that would take him before the other quarterback.
And Romo's big on legacies. He talks about it all the time. I don't know how many of you remember the Chiefs-Bucks Super Bowl. Okay, Romo's big storyline as the game is kicking off. Mahomes has to win this game if he's going to be considered the greatest quarterback of all time. I didn't realize we were having that discussion right now, but okay. I mean, so Romo's big on legacy. So he was talking about it yesterday also during the game. But Dan Campbell is saving Lamar Jackson and the Ravens a lot of flack today. Now, maybe not tomorrow and the days after, but this is a very Peyton Manning-like start to Lamar Jackson's career. I mean, Lamar's in his mid-20s. What's he, 26?
Yes.
And he's going to have 2 MVPs. I mean, Peyton had the MVP thing going early, too. Couldn't get by who? TB12 and the Patriots. Took him a while. Took him to like year 8, turning 30 when Peyton finally got by Brady and the Patriots on the way to winning the Super Bowl.
And it was funny as we were going into the game yesterday, David, so much has been made about Mahomes versus Allen, that's the next Brady versus Manning. And I'm going into the game yesterday going, no, it's these two. It's Jackson and Mahomes. This is the chance, Allen's got to win a few more to be put in that category. And I thought that was really the opportunity for Lamar yesterday. And I do think, Romo was on to something for his legacy. He was 2 games away from being in the Hall of Fame. I'm telling you, 2 MVPs in a ring.
At 26.
Right.
But it is a very Peyton Manning-like start to the career. Peyton and the Colts made the playoffs a couple times. He played badly. They lost a playoff game to the Jets like 41-0. Like his 4th year in the league. Then the next 2 years, they start to win some playoff games, but they lose to New England. Once in the AFC Championship, once in the divisional round. And it wasn't until his, I think, 9th year in the league. I think Peyton's 30, in which, and he's got those MVPs and what have you. And it's like, yeah, win the big one, dude. Oh, okay. So I wouldn't give up on Lamar just yet, but this is a very similar start to the career. 2-4 playoff record. How many times are we going to hear that over the next 7 to 11 months? Because, Mark, that's the other thing. It's brutal for Josh Allen and the Bills, for Dak and the Cowboys, for Lamar and the Ravens. I mean, you could be phenomenal in October and November of 2024. Who the hell's going to care?
The running backs had 6 carries yesterday for the Baltimore Ravens.
Thank you.
6 carries for the game. Lamar had a total of 8. Most of those were on scrambles. There weren't a lot of design runs for Lamar.
Yeah, I didn't understand it. Just because, I thought Troy Aikman had a really good line in the divisional round, Baltimore-Houston, in which he said, yeah, just because they line up 8 in the box, and then he stopped and said, if we didn't run Emmett every time there was 8 in the box, he wouldn't be the all-time leading rusher. I mean, just because the Chiefs said to the Ravens, hey, we're going to try to take away the run, that doesn't mean Baltimore should have said, yeah, all right, good luck trying.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop for the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few joy stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So Terrell Hatton made it official. So Terrell Hatton to LIV.
Yeah, that. Yeah. Excuse me. Where was the floor director at halftime too? Olsen's got to button that button and fix that tie.
Well, Ben is the stage manager. And Ben doesn't do that. Ben also handles the lighting and just if one of the pieces of equipment stops working, he fixes it. But no, Ben just makes sure the shot is, square.
And Brian, if you actually believe that CBS didn't want the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, I don't know what you're paying attention to.
Oh my goodness. They wanted Detroit and Kansas City so badly. Taylor Swift was asked to perform this year's halftime show, and she turned it down. And so they ended up with Usher. How amazing would that have been if she was the halftime entertainment?
I'm telling you, if you're Usher, you got to figure out a way to work her into a song.
It would help him out.
Problem is, she doesn't arrive till like 10 in the morning, I think. Everybody's doing the math, the show in Japan, the flyover. What time will she get there?
Someone's corporate suite just disappeared.
Yeah. And I think it's Clark Hunt's. Yeah, Brian, I will say the NFL would have loved Detroit in the game. Oh, my goodness. I saw a funny map last night in which it showed the states rooting for the two teams. Missouri for the Chiefs, Northern California for the Niners.
That's cute, Dolphin Dad. That's cute.
Vinny's on, by the way. Still got about 30 seconds. Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the top of the hour, the Diamond District bonus hour awaits in the 239 at the top of the hour. Our poll question, Dan Campbell coached the NFC Championship the way he coached all year. Do you agree with his decisions to bypass the field goals and go for it on fourth down? Yay or nay? So far, between 70-75% of you not agreeing with how Dan Campbell handled the NFC Championship game. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twitter, floridasportsnetwork.com. Vote accordingly. Vinny Cerrato, kind enough to join us once again, longtime NFL executive, working these days, 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore. Vinny, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time. How are you?
I'm doing fine. The callers won't be doing fine today.
No, they will not. Your week is done. That's for sure. Hey, when was the first time during the game yesterday that you said, what the heck's going on here?
Probably that first series when they kept when Mahomes completed every ball and they went right down the field and scored, and the Ravens went 3 and out. That's kind of had me. I was like, that was way too easy, and that's not the same defense I saw the week before against Houston.
What did Andy Reid and the Chiefs do in your estimation to make it look that easy? I mean, obviously they ended up with 17, but the first half they were incredibly efficient. What did they do in your estimation to make themselves look that good?
I thought they were more physical up front than the Ravens, number one. And then number two, Mahomes completed balls, and Kelsey was unbelievable. I mean, any contested catch they won. The one in the end zone, great play. Great play. And they made all the great plays to start with. Ravens tried to blitz. They threw it, they threw it right where they were. So, and then they weren't getting pressure on Mahomes. So that was offensively. Well, 9 minutes the first half. 9.
I thought the Chiefs punked them a little bit. I thought the Chiefs punched the bully in the mouth and said, yeah, things are going to be different today. And it took Baltimore like 2 hours to recover. Did you see and feel it the same way?
I thought, yes. I just thought that they were the more physical team. I'm like, because I thought all the matchups favored the Ravens.
I did too.
And stuff, and they were knocking them off the ball. And I'm like, no, it's supposed to be the other way around. I thought Kyle Hamilton and Roquan Smith, they showed up and they played physical. But the second half, I thought the Ravens defense played extremely well. It was the turnover. I mean, even as bad as it was the first half, if Zay Flowers scores that touchdown, we got a tie game.
And the other side of it was the penalties. Vinny, this is something Baltimore was a sore spot for them during the regular season, and obviously it killed them yesterday.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I mean, and at the beginning of the year, what did we have? We had Lamar had turnovers at the beginning of the year. Same thing, in this game. And the turnovers, yeah, they were dumb penalties, like stupid, like Van Noy's penalty. Come on. Can't do that kind of stuff. You got to play more discipline. I thought they were frustration penalties.
Vinny Cerrato, 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore, kind enough to join us. Listen, we love Todd Monken. We admired him at Georgia, loved the play calling there with Stetson Bennett, loved his play calling this year. 6 carries by running backs. I mean, Vinny, so what the Chiefs were loading the box? They're the Ravens. Run it.
Yeah, I think the other thing that kind of I thought Lamar would run it more, and take off and run like Josh Allen did the week before. And he didn't really pressure them that way. Yeah, and 6 carries, that was definitely not enough. But, I mean, they were making too many mistakes in the first half. Lamar was like jittery. I hadn't seen that Lamar since the beginning of the season. And he was he wasn't completing balls. I mean, let's face it, they have 50 yards at the half? I mean, he had a bad game. And I think he got somewhat rattled. I don't know if he was, felt pressured that, he needed to show everybody that he could throw it, but it just didn't look like the calm, cool, having fun Lamar.
Well, you're right, because they blitzed him a lot, and he looked rattled throughout that whole game. And, Vinny, now what? Because as you look ahead, this team was so well built. They destroyed everybody in their path for most of the regular season. They beat all of these playoff teams. So is this just send it back out the same way?
Well, they're going to have, Matabike's a free agent, so he's going to get paid a lot. Patrick Queen's a free agent. What are you going to do there? Ronnie Stanley, big number, not that good of production. What are you doing there? Morgan Moses, some of the more veteran guys. I'm guessing the wide receiver core, Aguilaro's on a 1-year deal. Beckham's on a 1-year deal. So those are a lot of questions that, after the season happens, there's a lot of questions that are going to need to be answered. They've got to, they've got 2 running backs, J.K. Dobbins coming off the knee and an Achilles, and then Keaton Mitchell, he won't be ready to start the season. So they're going to have to find, a running back too that gives them some burst and explosiveness.
Do you think any of the key guys are going to take quote unquote home down discounts because they're so close?
No, I don't think so. I mean, Matabike had never been paid. He wants to be paid.
Right.
Queen, he wants to be paid. I don't, Matabike may be, a franchise tag. I think Queen will probably be gone. That's why they drafted Simpson, the kid out of Clemson. So there's going to be some turnover. And is Marcus Williams going to be back? I mean, they paid him a bunch, and he's been hurt both years. So there's going to be some interesting questions that Eric DeCosta is going to have to handle. come over the next few months.
When you look at Moncton's job yesterday, how would you rate what he did to call the offense? Because it was, we talked about the runs, but when you look back, was this on Moncton? Is it on Jackson? Where would you throw the blame today?
I would probably put it on everybody because I didn't think any of them. I didn't think the line blocked well. I didn't think Justice Hill picking up protections, did well. I mean, he was bad there. We had Aguilar drop the ball in the first series, which would have given him a first down. He overthrew balls. Zay Flowers fumbles. So I think, Todd probably wishes he had a bunch of the play calls back. So I would say it was a group effort.
All year, did this feel like a one-year thing to get to this level? Because obviously this is their 5th conference championship game in 20 plus years, but this is the second time in 6 years, being the 1 seed. The road goes through Baltimore. Did this feel like this is a special 1 year thing, or do you feel that this is in the middle of a journey?
I felt like going through the year, and as they continued, to get better, you kind of felt it was like their year. I mean, they had 53 guys practice the other day, so they were healthy. Everything was kind of in their favor. As long as you got the quarterback, you're gonna be okay. And Roquan Smith and Kyle Hamilton, they got some stud players that they'll still be good this year. But Joe Burrows is not going to be hurt. Watson's going to be better next year. So this was kind of the perfect year to really take charge of that. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes because there's a lot of good quarterbacks in the AFC.
Vinny, final question. Is it fair if we make the Peyton Manning Lamar comparison, the first half dozen or so years of Peyton's career, a couple of MVPs, great stats, the Colts first, they couldn't win any playoff games. Then they couldn't get past New England. I mean, I can make the comparison with Lamar and the Ravens. Is that fair?
Yeah. I mean, it's fair. Lamar's 2-4 in the playoffs. He's going to have 2 MVPs. I mean, it is what it is. Facts are facts. And that's why I think maybe the pressure got to him a little bit because that would have set him up for him to go to the Super Bowl. Then that would have kind of made him. And now, it's similar to Peyton Manning. And what's he going to do about it? I thought Lamar had a hell of a year, though. I'll say that. And I thought he was focused, and I thought he busted his butt and did all those things. And I thought he improved. And I think he'll even get better next year because it'll be year 2 in Todd's offense.
Vinny, thanks for making time for us. We appreciate it. And good luck answering all those calls this week.
All right. Take care, guys.
Vinny Cerrato, 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore. Straight shooter.
They're going to be angry today. Lions fans just numb. They'll be angry tomorrow in Detroit. They're going to be hungover and numb today.
Do you think by the second half of the afternoon drive show in Detroit, it started, Trent said it earlier, the stages of grief, one of them is anger, when does it, I'm thinking, you get, people have been calling in all day, proud of my team, Dan coached the way he always had and what have you. Then you get that afternoon drive show, you get about midway through it, 4:30, 5 o'clock, people getting off work. They've been talking to their friends at work all day. They're riled up. They get in the car at 5 o'clock, they're honked.
No, you're onto something. They're going to be driving over potholes all over the greater Metro Detroit area because the roads are god-awful. And anybody that's from there knows that's a fact, as Trent's over there nodding his head with me. So they're going to hit a few potholes. Today probably I didn't look at Michigan weather, but if I were to guess, it's late January. It means it's going to be 30 degrees and gray because that's what it is all winter long there. So, David, you may be onto something. After a day at the plant, talking to your coworkers, the ride home could be a rough one.
Cloudy, mid to upper 30s today, by the way.
Oh, lovely.
And a 90% chance of snow tomorrow in Detroit.
Well, and that's just what you need. Parents home with their kids so soon. Now, if they had won and we're going to the Super Bowl, oh, it'd be amazing. Instead, it'll be like, what do you mean they're not going to school?
Oh, and this one just, watching that Barry documentary, they went into Washington, they just got whooped in the NFC Championship. I mean, that was over from the word go.
Yep.
This one was ripped away from the Lions fan. This one, they could taste Vegas. They were making plans at halftime, David.
How about the symmetry of the Niners led the Lions 24-7 in 1957, and the Lions came back and won? Wow. 66 years later, really? I mean, I believe in the sports gods, but even I would be like, seriously, dude? Really? We got to go there? Man.
Mark, I think you hit the nail on the head as far as why it hurts. It's a different kind of hurt. If you got smacked by the Niners, mollywopped, if you will, then it's a lot easier to come in here on a Monday and be like, you know what? Good run, good season, overachieved, won the division, got the monkey off your back, let's ride. Problem is, you get up 17, some fluky stuff starts happening, and I'm not talking about you can't get a stop. I'm talking about the Ayuk thing and Gibbs fumbling, which hasn't been an issue for him all season, on the first play of the next drive. That kind of stuff starts happening, and in the back of your mind.
Then then when you got to pin them. Then when it's important to pin them on the 2, you step in the end zone.
Exactly.
You do everything perfectly, and you screw up the punt
and
coverage.
Like I mentioned earlier, this won't get talked about, but the use check, is that his last name?
Yes.
The fullback with a insane catch. Best catch of the game. Oy.
It's starting.
Yep. There you go.
Did you hear the voice, David?
And that's why by 4:00, if he was in Detroit, he'd be on hold for an hour going, I can't believe it. I'm so angry. I don't want to hear it was a good year. I don't care how much I like. Yeah. Win the damn game. Why not us?
It is our poll question today. Dan Campbell went for it all year. Do you agree with him passing up field goals to go for it on 4th down? Right now, nearly 70% of you disagree with Dan Gamble.
I like that, by the way. Dan Gamble, look at you. See what you're doing there.
Man, we almost had an Eminem versus Taylor Swift Super Bowl. It would have been perfect.
I know.
And America wanted it, too. It's
They
what
did.
the people wanted.
The people wanted Detroit. They did. They were America's sweetheart. The Lions were taking over the mantra for the Cowboys. They were one half of football away from becoming America's team.
Instead,
don't say it. Don't.
SOL, David. Same old Lions.
Oh, he went there.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So did you hear about the story with the Rangers forward?
No.
So Cheadle takes a hit from Aho a couple months ago, and
Okay.
they suspect a concussion and what have you. So he shuts it down, and then he goes back to his native homeland and is getting better, working out, the whole deal, feeling good. So he flies back to New York to be with the Rangers. And he had just started practicing with the Rangers. Now he's got this jersey on, can't touch him. And he did like one practice, he was fine. His second practice, untouched, he collapses. And basically he got dizzy and post-concussion syndrome. He had passed all the tests for weeks, even flew, a 6-hour flight, the whole deal. And so now, they're wondering if he'll ever play again. 24 years old. He was the second overall pick of the draft a couple of years ago. I mean, they think this is his fourth concussion. Well, fam, we would love to. Here's the problem. They keep having the Super Bowls out west.
That's the first reason. The second reason is just flat out money. It costs money to go to Radio Row. It's not cheap.
No.
And we don't have any.
Now, and here's the problem. Like in 3 years, if I don't screw it up, I'll do the Super Bowl with Joe and Troy, and I could get a room with 2 beds, and bring Mark out. We could, get the credentials, do the show, save a ton of money, build Disney for as much as possible. But it's in Los Angeles.
Does us no good.
Live at 3 a.m.
Well, no one's in the room.
I know. I totally get what you're saying. I'm just being.
Yeah.
It's a brutal day because you do the show live, or you have to go there first thing in the morning and you spend all day taping. And then you have to, at some point, go back to your hotel room and literally put the show together and send it, get some sleep, go back, do it all again. It's an awful experience. Last year,
I have to be honest, fam. If I do it again, I think I'd want credentials to go to the damn game. I've never been to a Super Bowl. If I'm going to go work another Radio Row, I'd like to go to a game.
And they don't give you they'll give you Radio Row credentials. They don't give you game credentials. Now I would lean on some people, and if it's the ABC Super Bowl, to get Mark a game credential.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour on this final Monday of January. Hope you had a good weekend. Thanks for starting your week off with us, Miller and Moulton. From 6 to 9 on the Florida Sports Network, we had Ronnie Duncan in our 7 o'clock hour from CBS News in Detroit. He was very entertaining. And we had Soren Petro from Sports Radio 810 in Kansas City, and Vinny Cerrato from 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore last hour. If you missed any of those interviews, along with our witty repartee and our birthday greetings for 10-year-old crew. We even had one of those. If you missed any of that, go to floridasportsnetwork.com and download what you missed.
Birthday wishes.
Just having
Don't
fun.
know what came over you today.
I don't either. That's why I did it as Harry Carey. Did it as the baseball announcer on a slow Tuesday night in the summer. I think I'm doing it. I'm trying to put a smile on Trent's face, and I know I'm dying over here. I'm dying.
Trent is such a positive young man. He really and truly is. He is always in a good mood, and you are this morning, I don't want to say faking it, because I don't think you're faking it.
I know what you mean.
But you are having to put in as much effort as you have to put in to being in a good mood.
Yeah. You got to find the silver lining, but it's very hard to find today.
Trent.
We're finding it.
There's
no silver lining.
No, there's no silver lining.
See, for me, there is.
There isn't. There isn't. All right. No, Trent, there's not. Here's the silver lining. If it were to ever come where you win the game you lost yesterday.
The 2057 Super Bowl.
That is when what happened last night begins to feel better. And only then.
You're right. And, earlier in the show, David, you referenced some critical points of other Detroit teams.
Mm-hmm.
The Pistons in 87 when they lost to the Celtics, when Isaiah Thomas handed the ball to Larry Bird on an inbounds pass.
He's over to DJ, lays it up and in.
Oh, my goodness.
Did that all the Johnny Most voice in my head there.
Oh, my God, what a play by Bird. And the only reason that we can joke about that now is because 2 years later, the Pistons won the first of their 2 titles.
Like I don't remember too many. I'm not good at where was I at that. That's not me. I know exactly where I was when Bird stole the ball.
What was worse, Bird stealing the ball or the next year when Isaiah...
Bird stealing the ball.
Okay.
Because the Celtics were the one you had to get over to get to the finals.
Yeah.
And they had finally looked as if they were going to get past the hated Celtics. And I also hated the Celtics. I didn't hate the Lakers. The Lakers had Magic. That was my guy.
Yeah, okay.
So the Celtics with McHale and Bird and Parrish, that was the hated group. And it was for all Piston fans. So they got through that. You talked about the Wings getting past the Lanch and finally being able to hoist Lord Stanley's Cup. And it's weird because in basketball and hockey, especially in those times, David, we've talked about it many times in the show. You had to earn your right to get to the next round. Football, did the Lions earn their right to get back, or was this just a one-off?
Ask a Red Sox fan. When did they get over 86 in the Mets? 2004. That's when they got over it. Thank goodness for them that the Aaron Flippin' Boone home run only lasted a year. Because otherwise that would still bother them. So, Trent, trust me, I hate to do this to you. You know, I feel as if we're like your uncles. You know, or it's our job to teach you things. You're going to go on and have a hopefully very happy, healthy, successful life. And we want you to take certain lessons with you. Most of them are about the business. We're giving you a lesson in sports fandom. This one ain't going to feel better until you get to the big game. It just ain't. In fact, it'll get worse every year.
Trent, let me just ask you this. You got two choices right now. A long career in this business or the Lions win a Super Bowl in your lifetime.
Super Bowl. Super Bowl. I can bust tables and whatever else I got to do.
See? There you go. And you're telling me, give me a couple days. I'll be fine. No, you won't. No, you won't. You just threw away your career.
You knew what the answer was going to be.
I knew it before I asked it. That's why I was afraid to ask the question.
The reason it's a little easier to be optimistic is because this is the stepping stones. They took more than one step this year. It was the 3-13-1 with Dan Campbell's first year, and then the 9-8.
It sounds great. We all know what you're going to say. Yeah, we all know they sucked. They got decent, and now they got good. We got it. See, here's the thing, though. You could be like the St. Louis Rams, okay? Forget the whole stepping stone building crap. No, they went from terrible to a parade. No, it counts the same, by the way. It does.
Yes, in fact, it's even greater when it comes out of nowhere.
You know, so no. Now, if this is a stepping stone, and if in fact in the next handful of years they're going to get to that elusive Super Bowl, never mind win it, then yes, we will talk fondly. It's why we can talk fondly about the Pistons, all right, and the steal by Bird, and the fake foul on Lambeer in Game 6 against the Lakers in the 88 finals. And Jabbar hits the 2 free throws, okay, so that they win that game by 1. And then they lose Game 7 by 3 with Isaiah's heroic performance. Right. Okay, the reason we can look back fondly on that is because they won the title the next 2 years. And that's the only reason we can look back at that fondly. Why do we look back at the Wings getting swept by the Devils and then losing that incredibly painful series to the Avs when Lemieux put Draper into the boards and broke his face? Okay, why is that something we can look back fondly on now? Because then they won back-to-back cups.
And when you just, it's hard to look forward. And Jared Goff had a really nice year this year.
Yeah.
But nobody thinks Jared Goff's an elite quarterback. And as you look at the NFC, who's going away? Who emerges? The Lions have to play a first-place schedule.
I don't know if they'll ever play an NFC that was as down as it was this year. And not only was it down, but at the end of the year, the Eagles were a mess. I mean, seriously, Trent, in your lifetime, do you think the Lions will play in an NFC that was as vulnerable as the NFC was this year?
No, but I also think they're going to roll into next season as a top 3 team in the conference.
Okay.
You know what?
No. But the Bengals rolled into this year as a top 3 team in the AFC too.
They got derailed by injury, and that could happen. That could happen, of course. The Lions didn't deal with an injury to a star player until the very end, Jonah Jackson. So I'm aware. I know.
I'm sorry. He said star player.
Yeah, I know. He's on a roll.
He's a Pro Bowler.
Oh, a star player.
He's a Pro Bowler.
First off, the quarterback for the Ravens made the Pro Bowl last year. He threw 2 touchdowns. You can't throw Pro Bowl in my face. It's not even a game. It's a skills competition. Teron Armstead made the Pro Bowl. He played 9 games. It's a joke. Can't go Pro Bowl anymore.
Yeah, you can go all pro with us any day you want.
Lions O-line was great all year. He was a big part of it.
He was. Star? No.
Star.
But they have to get, they have to get better.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, they got to get better on defense in particular. And they're going to have to get a new OC. That's the other.
Yeah.
That's a big one. It is not lost on me the work the Lions have to do. But I have faith in the trajectory here.
I will say, for the first time in my lifetime, it appears that ownership, management, coach are all on the same page. They've never had that in Detroit.
I'll grant you that. They actually seem to have their together. Yes. I will grant you that. And for that franchise, that's notable. Yes.
That is the single biggest reason, what Mark just said, why it's again, looking for silver linings, hard to find. That's the main one that Mark just laid out.
He's going to be in the fetal position by noon.
Oh, man.
He's done such a good job sucking it up for the show. I give him a lot of credit. A lot of professionalism for a 24-year-old.
He's going to be torn between, do I want to watch the talking head shows or do I not? Do I go to a complete media blackout? Yet all I can think about is the damn game and the damn team. What am I going to do to occupy myself? He apparently late last week, cleaned his entire apartment. Also, he can't even fall back on that. He's got his laundry done. He cleaned his whole house. Apparently, while listening to a college basketball game, he cleaned his bathroom. I mean, he can't nest today. There is nothing he can do to occupy himself except like belly up at a bar somewhere.
Yeah, I know. You said you used to swim athletically. Yeah. Today would be a good day for you to get in the pool.
Yeah.
And just do a lot of laps.
I have been to the FGCU Aquatic Center a couple times since coming down here. Maybe I will go stare at the bottom of the pool.
I was going to say, and even if it's closed, climb a fence, break in. I'll make a couple calls. All right. I mean, trust me, somebody shows up. What's going on here? He's a Lions fan. He's swimming it off. All right. We'll come back in an hour.
Swimming it off.
Swimming it off. Just, I mean, you don't want me to say, shake it off, do you?
Oh, look at that. That's one. How many Taylor Swift cliches will we have between now and the Super Bowl?
Hey, do you know she's dating Travis Kelce?
I heard that.
Man, I thought I saw her at the game the other day.
Really? Is that confirmed?
I don't know. Rumors. So feel for Trent, and faithful Lions faithful out there. Bears, Packers fan, come on. Have a heart today. Just be silent today. Don't say anything. Just wait till tomorrow before you give it to him.
Miller and Moulton. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when what's on tap thoughts all still ahead as we console Trent on Miller and Moulton. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Fam, I will watch the Super Bowl and I will root for the 49ers. Reluctantly.
You got to.
Yeah.
I lost my semifinal golf match on Saturday. I was going to play two friends in the finals. I looked at both of them. I said, I'm rooting for the other guys. I want to lose to the champs.
Yeah.
They both understood.
You know, this Niners team too it's a very different team than the one that made it a few years ago. So I'd love to see. Purdy's a good story. I'm a big McCaffrey fan.
So your brother's taking the Super Bowl off, huh?
Yeah, that's what he says.
I'm calling BS.
I am too. We've got 2 weeks till I'll get back to you on that, but lots of sad social media posts on my feed.
We had soccer tournament Sunday morning. One of the dads, who's a big Lions fan, he's got his Lions shirt on. He goes, so what do you think? I said, I think 34-24 San Francisco. Well, that's not a very good attitude. I'm like, what? You asked me what I thought.
Yeah. Yep. And thanks to Jamison Williams.
He did not make it through January, by the way. The Lions game caused him to drink. He was trying to.
That's warranted. You can 28 days. That's bravo.
Did you see that triple header Saturday, a hoop? College hoop?
Oh, yeah.
That's a fun day.
So the Lions going into the NFC Championship game were 18 for 21 on 4th and 3 or less in enemy territory this season. 18 for 21. Going into the game.
Right. That's 86 percentile. That's about that guy's percentage kicking field goals.
Right, who's 1 for 3 outdoors in the last 2 years kicking in that range.
Yeah.
Also.
I don't, again, I don't question there's more to it than Dan Campbell just being a meathead, and, you know, you can disagree with it for sure. A lot of people do. I 100% get why he opted to do what he did.
You're ruining football.
Who said that?
Someone to Taylor Swift walking out of the game.
You're ruining football.
Someone yelled, Taylor, you did it. And she goes, I didn't do blank. And you hear another voice go, you're ruining football. I saw a tweet that was pretty good. Says she's had the best rookie season of anybody in the NFL history.
Well, I forget who the tweet was that said Taylor Swift, first year in the league, makes the Super Bowl. Elite.
I wonder if Jared Goff would just do us all a favor and kindly ask her out next season.
Have you
Just
seen
kidding.
his fiance?
Yes, I was just gonna say his fiance's a rocket, so never mind. You couldn't have asked for a better start yesterday, too. Just getting out in front, making Purdy beat you with his legs and his arm, and he did. What can you do?
Stop him.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour, the Diamond District bonus hour. Thanks so much for being with Miller and Moulton on this final Monday of January. David Sampson, Pat Kerwin on the show tomorrow. Pat will join us from Mobile and the Senior Bowl. You know, there was other stuff that happened over the weekend, you know.
There was?
Yeah. I just, and some of it was even football. Michigan replaced Jim Harbaugh in-house with Sharon Moore. Got a 5-year deal. I mean, gut feeling. Is that going to work? And I don't mean win a national championship work. And I don't even mean, you know, Michigan is a perennial top, even a perennial playoff team. Because let's be honest.
I think I'm sorry. I'm going to stop you right there. If they're not a perennial playoff team with 12 teams, then it didn't work.
Okay. Fair
this
enough.
Is Michigan.
Well,
it's not Michigan State.
Well, but let's look at Harbaugh's 9 years. In only 4 of the 9 years do I think they would have qualified for the playoffs. They had the one really good team that lost to Ohio State early in his tenure on the bogus spot. And then his last 3 years. But I don't know if Michigan was a playoff team during Harbaugh's other seasons. I mean, they were losing 3-4 games a year.
But 9-3 should get you in if you're Michigan most years.
Okay, let's assume right now it doesn't. Let's assume you probably got to go 10-2 to be guaranteed a spot. Okay. 9-3, you're probably walking the, line, if you will. So, all right, 5 years. How many times does Michigan make the playoff during Sharon Moore's 5 years? Over, under 2.5.
Well, next year's already a no.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the problem. So can he do it 2 out of 4 years? I would say under 2.5. But I think if he does it 2 out of 5, it's successful because next year's not happening.
I'm going to hit you where you live here. I'm just wondering if Sharon Moore is going to be Bobby Williams. And for those that don't know, when Nick Saban left Michigan State and went to LSU, they promoted loyal coordinator, kept the majority of the staff intact, although it looks as if Michigan's going to lose their young defensive coordinator. He's going to follow Harbaugh to the Chargers. And that was who the team wanted, by the way. They wanted Michigan State to promote from within. It was a very popular hire. It didn't work out. Thankfully, Mark D'Antonio rolled into town. And that's, what I'm wondering. Is he going to keep on keeping on to some degree? Not win a national title, but keep Michigan, perennial top 10 in the playoff 3 out of 4 years, that type of deal. Because that's, quite frankly, what I'm curious about Kalen DeBoer about, Mark. I'm not expecting him to match what Nick just did. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's arguably the greatest run in the history of the sport. Although I'll say it again. If the playoff format that Nick got to play with was what Bobby Bowden and Florida State got to play with during those years, I think Florida State's run would have been very similar Very similar, because they would have been in the playoff every damn year. I mean, 15 straight years finishing in the top 4. I mean, how many playoffs do you think they're not going to be in? But I digress. But, can Kalen DeBoer just get, in the next 4 years? I mean, they're expecting you got to make the playoff every year, buddy.
Right. If you were to put the over-under on both of them, 5 years, 2.5, I would take the under on Moore. Would you take the under on DeBoer, or would you take the over?
I'd take the over. But to me, what will be interesting is that, what if he doesn't play for or win a natty? Well, just making the playoff would basically, if Alabama becomes the 7th best team in the country on a regular basis, how's Alabama going to handle that? I think Michigan would be fine.
I agree.
But how's Alabama going to handle being the 3rd best team in the SEC?
Being the Baltimore Ravens.
Look at you off the top rope. Boom.
They wouldn't be able to handle it, David. They wouldn't.
I don't think they would either. I mean, let's face it, they're spoiled beyond belief. Unless Nick comes out and publicly tells them to back off. But, Doug makes an interesting point in our Twitch chat room. Yeah, you're talking about Sharon Moore and, Michigan at the national level. What's his record against Ohio State? Okay. I remember the last guy started 0-6. But he finished 3-0.
And that's all any of you remember.
So, but I mean, noteworthy hire. They didn't consider anybody else. Jim left, and they went, well, okay, get him on the line. I don't have to. He's down the hall eating. All right, bring him in. So, all right, let's see where we go. Their recruiting the last couple of years has been top 20, top 15, hasn't been, elite for whatever that's worth. And now USC, Oregon, Washington joining the conference, just like Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC. In theory, they're getting harder. But so that's all. I mean, see, I'm just saying there was stuff out there. Stuff happened.
No, I understand.
He'd have lost like 5, 6 in a row. I'm just saying there's stuff out there. We got to throw this stuff out. I mean, the audience has been in hibernation, Mark, for 5 months. They're unaware of all this stuff that's actually exists in the sports world. We have to let them know. There's a big bad world out there. I mean, they're like Trent. They're not ready for it yet.
They need to be.
That's what we're saying.
This is the time. These are the 2 weeks that we will indoctrinate you into college basketball. The season's well underway. In fact, South Florida with another win on Saturday. They're like a half game out of the conference lead. They're playing great It's a nice little story.
It's a terrific story. By the way, trivia question. Impress your friends. Who's the number 1 college basketball team in the country? It's UConn. Purdue's number 2. Win some bar bets with that. South Carolina women are undefeated.
And destroying everything in their sight.
So, just saying. There's stuff out there. That's all. By the way, the Gators blew a 21-point lead at home in the final 12 minutes on Saturday. Thankfully, they rallied in overtime to beat Mike White and Georgia. Wow, would that have been a bad loss? But at least they survived. Florida State had a real chance for its tournament hopes over the weekend. They lost a close one at home to Carolina.
Yeah, there's not a lot of tournament teams in state.
No. There's FAU, and that could be it. Miami is bubblicious.
They need to get their act together
in
the second half of the season, or now the I guess, the final third of the season, if you will.
And we still have 2 coaching vacancies in the NFL. See, we're coming back around to what it is you want to talk about. Washington, who's interviewing the Ravens defensive coordinator for a second time today. And then they're going to interview the Lions OC. And people still think it's going to be Dan Quinn in Seattle, but I got to admit, they're talking to everybody. So why would you go from Pete Carroll to Dan Quinn? Isn't that like mini-me? I mean, don't you have to hire somebody different?
I think all this time, I don't know if it's going to be Quinn. If they were going to hire Quinn, wouldn't they have already done so, David?
Yeah, I mean, they got eliminated from the playoffs real early. I mean, after all, he's a coordinator in Dallas. That was for a Lions fan to try to give him a chuckle.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few joy stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Ryan, Bill Belichick would not replace Andy Reid. Bill will have one more opportunity to get back in next year between the Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Jets, Dolphins, Bills. I mean, there's going to be a lot of teams with a pressure on them to get something done next year.
All right, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for being with us in the Diamond District bonus hour. They got a big day coming up 2 weeks from Wednesday. Don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Valentine's Day. It's big with Hallmark, and it's big with the ladies. Just tipping you off. You got 16 days. Get your you-know-what together.
Right. I won Christmas because of the Diamond District. You can win Valentine's Day the same way.
Right. 16 days to formulate a plan. Or you could just go visit Todd and Jason at the Diamond District and say, hey, what's your plan? I hear you guys are good at this. So that's...
Or the other side of it, if you gambled all your money away over the weekend,
right,
they're buying diamonds and gold and watches and all that stuff there too.
Yeah, okay. So you can go that way if you want, and then put all that money back in your Hard Rock account.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Going into the Wayback Machine today, 1595 we start.
Holy blank.
It is said that it was today in 1595 that Romeo and Juliet was first performed. 1845. The Raven was first published. 1892, the Coca-Cola Company is incorporated.
Whatever happened to them?
1936, first players elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Cobb, Ruth, Honus Wagner, Christy Mathewson, and Walter Johnson.
Whatever.
Today in 63, the first class of the Pro Football Hall of Fame was inducted. 17 total inducted, including Jim Thorpe, Red Grange, and George Hallis.
Jim Brown was still playing, so that's why he's not among them.
Bronco Nagurski, another one that was inducted into the Hall. Anytime you can get that into a radio show, I think you're obligated by radio laws.
Well, you know me. You know where my mind goes. All right. Last time I saw Bobby Bowden, he had just coached his last game. He's eating dinner in the restaurant. We happen to be in the same restaurant in the hotel. He's walking out. He stops by to talk to Vern and Gary. And then we say, "Where are you going?" He says, "I'm going upstairs to watch Bronco Nagurski." And we kind of looked at him. He went, "Tebow, same guy."
Today in 1964, Dr. Strangelove premieres. Fabulous movie. 95, Super Bowl 29. The Niners destroy the San Diego Chargers. Steve Young, your MVP, played at my favorite stadium, Joe Robbie Stadium.
There you go. Wasn't even pro player, was it?
No. I built it. What are you
Right.
going to name it? I'm going to name it Joe Robbie. Why? Because I built the damn thing.
Right. I own the team, and I built the stadium.
Today in 1996, Cat surpassed a chorus line when in London it had its 6,138th performance.
Whatever.
The movie Black Panther premiered today in 2018, and it was a year ago that Kansas City defeated Cincinnati and Philadelphia, pounded San Francisco in the AFC and NFC championship games. Thomas Paine, William McKinley, John D. Rockefeller Jr., and John Forsyth all born today. Tom Selleck, 79. Oprah is 70. Greg Louganis and Steve Sachs are both 64. Andre Reed is 60, and Dominic Hasek is 59. What did I miss, David?
Happy birthday to Kansas. The state is 163 years old. It entered the Union today in 1861. It didn't declare what they were. All right. The whole, we're, a lot of anxiety in 1861. You a slave state, okay? You an anti-slave state, and they said, no, we're a free state. Okay? Yeah. You guys do what you got to do. We want to be Switzerland, if that's okay. So, and eventually they said, no, we're against slavery. Huh, okay, well, it's good to hear on the right side of history. All right, good.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Marion, Indiana for the good, where northbound traffic was blocked when a vehicle hauling animals caught fire, and it took the Grant County Sheriff's Department to the rescue as they were able to unload the tractor trailer hauling circus animals. All the animals were safe, camels and zebras all over the streets. But fortunately, all the animals involved were rescued safely. For the bad, we go to Muncie, Pennsylvania, where, according to Muncie Township Police, Brian Kilgus came into the BMW dealership around 1 p.m. to shop for a car. He was sitting in a car when one of the employees went to do some paperwork. That's when he fired up the engine, drove it through the showroom window, and out onto I-80. He was involved in a high-speed chase for 10 miles before crashing the vehicle and was apprehended. Finally, the ugly. We go to Charlotte County, where Ralph Biernat was drunk. He was wearing a pink bathrobe when a witness told deputies she saw a man in a pink bathrobe shoot a gun at a speed limit sign trailer. She heard 3 or 4 shots and recorded a video of a man firing 1 round. She followed him to pick up the license plate. They finally picked the man up and arrested him. He was fully loaded. No reason for him as to why he shot at the speed trailer. It did force a school lockdown for a couple hours because shots were close enough to a school. So a scary situation there. And that is our good, bad, and ugly on today, January the 29th, 2024.
All right, Trent. I don't know if you took a look or not, but tonight's a big night in the association. I mean, if you're into the NBA, I mean, you got the Magic and the Heat who are both playing tonight. Orlando's in Dallas. Luka, by the way, over the weekend scored 73.
73.
Now, I will say Atlanta's defense, 30 of it is.
Okay, it's 73.
I know. It's
right after he was told to get on a treadmill.
Right. So, and not only that, it was like 3 days after Embiid scored 70. And 2 days after, Cat scored 62. But anyway, Orlando's in Dallas, and the Heat are hosting Phoenix. Devin Booker's been on a roll, by the way. Heat are a 3.5-point favorite, which is saying something because they've lost like 6 in a row. But, Trent, here you go. All right? Minnesota's at OKC. Milwaukee's at Denver. Is this Doc Rivers' debut?
Let me look into that.
New Orleans is in Boston. And the Clippers are in Cleveland. Like, there's good NBA tonight. These are good teams playing each other. Now, we'll see, who actually shows up and wants to play, load management and all, blah, blah, blah.
Yes, it is Doc Rivers' coaching debut. Sorry.
There you go. He actually starts with like a 5-6 game road trip also, which is, interesting. College hoops tonight. Only 2 ranked teams in action. ESPN has the double dip. Duke at Vatech early. They're only a 3.5-point favorite. Take the Hokies tonight? Do I see upset? And boy, I hope they can handle it in Austin. One of the Houston players may hit a shot and do horns down. Can everybody handle that?
Did you see what happened over the weekend with Texas and BYU?
And the BYU crowd announcing, or the PA announcer saying to the crowd, will you please stop the horns down?
Well, it's even worse than that. A bunch of students decided to wear white T-shirts. They wrote letters on them to spell horns down.
Right.
They made them take their shirts off.
Oh, for goodness sake.
That's not what we stand about here at BW Brigham Young. We don't care if you marry 74 women, but damn it if you wear horns down.
Big Cat from Barstool, who, not everyone's cup of tea, but he tweeted out, really disgusting stuff by BYU here. We can't be saying the words horns down under any circumstance in 2024. Incredibly insensitive to everyone who identifies as a Longhorn.
Yep.
I laughed my butt off.
9 o'clock tonight, Houston's in Texas. Cougars a 5.5-point favorite. I think I take the 2 home teams and the points tonight. I do. Hockey's at the All-Star break, yet they have games tonight. It's the NHL. Well, what can I tell you? It's they have 1 game tonight. Nashville's in Ottawa. It's on the NHL Network if you're really bored. So there you go.
So, David, I have a good, bad, and ugly follow-up. You've told me a long time ago, follow-ups are very important.
Audience loves a good follow-up.
If you remember, one of our uglies a while back was a gentleman who stole Dorothy's ruby slippers from a Minnesota museum. They found the slippers and all that. They were in the Judy Garland Museum. But the gentleman who stole them will avoid prison time. He was a longtime thief. He'd been nabbed on a bunch of stuff. He got a tip from a mobster that the shoes had real rubies in them. When he found out after he stole them, they didn't. He had no use for the shoes. But it turns out he will avoid prison basically because he's in hospice. They've given him 6 months to live, and they're saying he will avoid prison time and spend the last 6 months with a tether.
So in Wichita, they're very upset. I think it's Wichita. They have a park. It's the Jackie Robinson Park. And there's a statue, Jackie Robinson. And two people stole the statue. They actually cut the statue at like the ankles and took it. What do you do with that? Like, I stole a canoe. I did. You can do something with a canoe. You can sell a canoe. You can give it away. You can use the canoe. What are you going to do with a statue? Never mind the fact it's of an American icon and Jackie Robinson, you disgusting blankety blanks. But I mean, hey, I've got an idea. Let's steal the statue. Okay, what are we going to do with it? I mean, I can't put it in my garage. I mean, seriously. So I will say the police there, they've needed a lot of pressure on them to find these two.
Yeah, no sense of humor with this one anymore either.
No. A lot of pressure on the local police to find these two individuals and the statue. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, what do you take that down to a pawn shop? Hey, what can I hypothetically, what can I get for this?
I don't know. Got to go to the dark web for that one, David. That's where you're selling that.
Mm-hmm.
Some collector of statues is out there.
So Ravens defensive coordinator, Lions offensive coordinator appear to be the two finalists, even though Dan Quinn apparently interviewed twice, for the Washington Commanders job. The thought was it was Ben Johnson, the Lions guy. This was his gig, but apparently they're making a big to-do out of the Ravens defensive coordinator today. Second meeting, dinner over at Josh Harris's house, that sort of deal. So
two jobs left, Washington, Seattle.
Yeah.
We'll see if those get settled anytime soon. Obviously, if they're still interviewing this guy, Washington will at least be a few more days.
Yeah, you would think, right? But then again, Carolina hired Canales there when we thought Vrabel was getting a second interview. They hired him that morning. Do you know there's a report out that Fox is going to sign Belichick? I mean, he was nominated for an Emmy for that NFL Top 100.
I know, but Brady's working at Fox too.
And Gronk.
Right. We're putting the band back together.
Imagine Gronk and Belichick on the same pregame show with Gronk busting his chops.
Neither of them know who Journey is.
Right. And Belichick trying to fake, laugh.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of Belichick fake laughing on set.
No, and that's
I want the wide shot when everybody's fake laughing just so I can see Belichick's facial expressions.
And that's what those pregame shows are all about. Yeah, take all of Terry's money.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for